What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
All right. What is it? Tuesday night? Sorry, I just had to have a sip of my delicious ranch juice there. What is it? Tuesday night must be the Tuesday Night Radio Baloney Live. How's everybody doing? How was everybody's weekend, by the way? I forgot to ask that yesterday. How's everybody? I hope it was well. Hope you're doing well. All right. So we got Rosie in the chat already. Nevada, Spam Bob. We got Jason over on YouTube. How's everybody doing? All right. Tonight, I should always say this to the YouTube people. You see the chat on the screen. That's like 95% usually from Rumble. So that's where really the tight community is. It's a fantastic community. The water's fine. They're all good, decent people. It's basically the family you've been looking for your entire life. I guess extended family. Yeah. Well, let's get to the chat. Let's first, before we do anything, God, my brains are rattled. God, my brains are rattled right now. I don't know why.
I ain't got a good brain.
Sometimes my brain just doesn't want to start. I guess this is one of those nights. Let me have another sip of ranch juice. That ought to fix it up. Okay. All right. Now I'm on the trolley. So what are we going to be talking tonight? Let's go through the menu. I'll just show you the stories we're going to deal with. Then we'll get back to the chat. Then we'll go back and deal with the stories in detail. We got some Epstein stuff here. And my stream on YouTube just probably got shadow banned immediately because I said the E word. But in any case, we're still going to talk about this. Donald Trump, here's something that's come out from the files. Donald Trump called the FBI to basically say, thank goodness you're stopping Epstein, basically to say, I'll help, this sort of thing. I don't know. I assume the Democrats have known about this forever. The deep state's known about this forever. Comes out now. Very interesting. But we'll take a look at that. We're going to take a look at tricks that are being played on the anti-ICE communists, revolutionary communists. And it's pretty funny. What do we got here? A mob of angry, extremely emotional white liberal women berate core power yoga staffers for being complicit in ICE raids. That is the hardcore support for ICE is yoga studios. Hardcore. We'll take a look at that. These people are bananas. Let's see. Here we have a guy here, Charles Barron, New York State representative, who's really happy that white people are leaving his district. He's thrilled about it. Very happy. And I don't know. They said that Scott Adams was racist. That's what they said. Wait till you hear this guy. We've got Michael Knowles here. And talking to, a lefty. This is on Piers Morgan. And Michael Knowles is very good. He's very sharp. I think we will enjoy this. We have a Spambot is an official canvasser. Our own Spambot is an official canvasser for Alberta, for the Alberta independence petition to have a referendum for Alberta independence. So I thought we would just all give him a hand. There we go. We've got, you want to know what Kearney's really doing? He's not getting a trade deal, I'll tell you that much. He's not smoothing things over with the United States, which really you'd think would be his priority if he cared about the country at all. He's not doing that. Really what he's doing is the same thing as Trudeau, going for central planning and censorship, trying to consolidate power and shut up people that don't agree with him, that are standing in his way. Oh boy. You've got Bill C8, Bill C9. We're going to go over these. You got Bill C15, which will allow the liberals to just break the law and companies to just break the law. Break the law. Break the law. You know, one thing about it, for 6 years, by the way, 6 years. So they will not, so the liberals will be, and any companies they deal with will not be subject to Canadian law, except for criminal law. They're not allowed to like murder people and stuff. But in terms of business, corruption, don't worry. Don't worry, they got Bill C15. Carney's got him covered. Just do whatever the hell you want and you can't be held accountable. So, you know, conflict of interest, that sort of thing. You know, the thing that there's been so much talk about Mark Carney's conflict of interest because it's real and it exists and it's obvious and it's really right in everybody's face if they want to take a look at it. I guess he won't have to worry about that, will he, if he passes this bill that makes him immune from any of this, from Canadian law. This is actually happening in Canada, people. Don't vote. Don't vote loonies. Don't vote far left loonies to run your country. It's a bad idea. They're always terrible people. Ezra Levant posted this. I thought you might find it interesting. This is what being part of China's New World Order means. Well, he's going to tell us. And I tell you right now, spoiler alert, not good. We've got meme reviews here, folks. We got meme reviews. Of course, we're going to do that. Everybody loves the meme reviews. It's kind of a nice little break in our show, kind of right in the middle. I think everybody it's like a palate cleanser. It's great. We've got Woke Canada, of course. We've got I thought this was an interesting tweet from JJ McCullough here, talking about Premier Ford in Ontario. I think that's interesting. Here we have gender ideology stuff. We're talking about the Bill C4 from Trudeau, from the Trudeau era, which was the so-called conversion therapy ban. What it actually does is prevents doctors, health professionals, counselors, psychologists from offering an alternative to confused children other than, you know, chemical castration, mutilation, the gender stuff, child sex changes. So it basically enforces in law the affirming method, which means 12-year-old says, I'm in the wrong body, you just have to accept it. Nope, that's just the way that is. It's actually hard to even get your mind around it to actually believe it, but it actually makes it illegal to give responsible health care to children with gender confusion. It actually is conversion therapy. So it is, I mean, even as I'm saying these words, it's hard to believe, but it's actually true. And I've got the bill here, Bill C4, to prove it to you. So again, am I in an alternate universe? Sometimes I have to pinch myself and go, is this real? Am I dreaming right now? Is this a nightmare? Can this possibly be real? What happened? Did my old universe split off into a new universe? And what the hell is happening? How can this actually be real? It is. It's in law, and it's shocking. This is what Canada has become. Then we have the last tab of the evening, and there's all kinds of fun stuff. You got comedy, you got some meme stuff, you've got lots of stuff. It's fun. Everyone's going to enjoy themselves with this part. It's a nice way to come down after all of the news, all the horrifying news that we're exposed to, that I expose you to on this show. All right, now for anybody watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the new channel, Radio Baloney News. This is the second channel. And this is where you're going to find all the meme reviews and the meme reviews and the UK news and the world news, everything not Canada you'll find here. We don't do the live streams on Radio Baloney News. We do it on Radio Baloney, although you can watch the playbacks here because I did add a list here that has all of the playbacks. So all of the live streams, but you can't watch them live on this channel. You have to on the new channel, you have to watch it on Radio Baloney, not on Radio Baloney News, where you can watch it afterwards. In any case, subscribe. The gatekeepers, The gatekeepers hate me. They hate you. The algorithm hates us. It's been programmed to hate us. Skynet hates us, right? They're afraid of us joining forces and becoming more powerful than anyone could ever imagine. So, subscribe to Radio Baloney News. At some point, my brain will start working properly at regular speed during this stream. And we've got a new women's sports channel happening here. And this is a Olympics one because the Olympics are going on right now. So I hope you enjoy women's sports. All right. There's only one rule for women's sports on this channel. No fatties. Oh, why do I say these things? Why? Why? Don't say that. Don't say that. Am I talking out loud? Damn it. As everybody knows, we're streaming on YouTube, on Rumble, on X, and on Locals right now. And of course, when you subscribe to the channel, or better yet, become a channel member, or even better yet than that, for some crazy reason, lose your mind and send me some money, you get free good karma. But you know the easiest way? Just like the stream. That's the easiest way you can like that stream. You get some free good karma right now. And if you're one of the early ones in, if you're an early bird, you're going to get the worm. You're going to get extra good karma. Let's see what's going on. Rosie is number one. So this is a Tuesday night. So I think we've settled into 6 good karmas for first one on a Tuesday night. Now, 6 good karmas. That's pretty good. Nothing bad's going to happen to Rosie. Let's see. Nevada says number 2, then the word 2, and then the number 2, then the word 2, then the number 2. What's happening? What is that? I don't know. I don't know if that's what is that? Is it just 2? Is that the second one? Or is it the 22,222nd? Like, I don't know. You gotta stop doing this to me. Stop messing with my mind like this. I'm just gonna go with 2. So that's 5 good karmas for you. All right. Spambot, good evening, everybody. Spambot says, I'm working late again. He's the hardest working man in the chat, Spambot. 3rd, well, that'd be 4 good karmas for you, my friend. Rosie's finally home and no more driving tonight. Fantastic stuff. You're safe now. All right. What are we doing? All right. Well, the chat is pretty quiet tonight. I don't know what's going on. How come everybody's clamming up? Get in the chat, everybody. By the way, I have to get a certain amount of people, unique people, in the chat for the creator program on Rumble. So if you're watching on Rumble right now, just say hi or something, or don't even just press like enter on the thing and so nothing will come up. But just help me out with that. Come on, help me out. Help a creator out, but just put your name in there. I mean, just say hi. You're watching on your TV, just go on your phone. Just go in the chat right now and say hi. Whatever. Everybody's fantastic here. You don't have to be shy. Spambot says, hard to type on my phone. That's no excuse. All right, what's going on here? ABC News says a former police chief who investigated Jeffrey Epstein in the mid-2000s told the FBI he had received a call from Donald Trump at the time to say, thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this, according to an FBI account. Now, we know that Trump kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago and cut off all contact with him in the early 2000s. So, I mean, this would go against the idea that he was somehow in league with Epstein, right? Let's see. ABC News. Now, is ABC News one of those far-right blogs? Is it? I don't think it is. Let's see. Ex-police chief says Trump told him, thank goodness you're stopping Epstein in the 2000s. Trump allegedly told the chief, everyone knows he's been doing this. So I guess maybe the question could be, maybe you should have done something earlier. I don't know. But doesn't seem like bad guy behavior. A former Palm Beach, Florida police chief who investigated Jeffrey Epstein in the mid-2000s told the FBI he had received a call from Donald Trump at the time to say, quote, thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this, according to an FBI account of an interview with the ex-police chief in 2019. The Miami Herald was the first to report on the FBI document. President Trump has repeatedly denied any knowledge of Epstein's crimes and has said that he cut off contact with his former friend more than 20 years ago. Trump has claimed that he booted Epstein from Mar-a-Lago after discovering he was poaching employees from the club spa. The police chief's name, Michael Reiter, is redacted from the document on the Department of Justice's website, but the information in the FBI statement tracks with previous public information about Reiter's role in the investigation that began in 2005, so it looks solid. Donald Trump told Reiter that he threw Epstein out of his club. Now, this is the information about Trump's alleged call makes up just, why are you saying alleged? I mean, you're pretty much confirming it here, right? The information about Trump's call makes up just a small part of a 4-page FBI report summarizing Reiter's testimony in October 2019, 2 months after Epstein's death. Quote, Donald Trump told Reiter that he threw Epstein out of his club. Trump called the Palm Beach Police Department to tell him, thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this. The FBI report of Reiter's statement says the alleged call from Trump came in July 2006, around the time the details of the police investigation became public, according to a source familiar with the timing. All right. Well, I think that's about all we need. I wonder if this made it onto the front page of CNN. Let's see. Interesting. Because I'm surprised that came out in I'm surprised that came out on ABC News. So what's this? New document raises questions about what Trump may have known of Epstein's crimes in the mid-2000s. Is this it here? Because that is phrased in a way. Trump told police in mid-2000s everyone has known about Epstein's misconduct. Trump called the Palm Beach, Florida Police Department to express gratitude. Thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone's okay. So you could have. You see that it's all about the initial framing, right? Trump told police in mid-2000s everyone has known about Epstein's misconduct. Okay, but he called them. I mean, that's kind of part of the story, right? And then if you go back, new document raises questions about what Trump may have known of Epstein's crimes in mid-2000. So that's an interesting framing, isn't it? Huh. It makes him sound like he's guilty of something, doesn't it? It's very, very typical. What about MSNBC? That's how they do it. It's all framing, right? MSNBC. It's not before the lies, the outright lies that are told. It comes down to framing. So even when they can't really lie, they still rely on the framing, the misleading framing. Let's see, what's here? Anything about this? Secret orders to... The Trump administration is using secretive orders to crack down on dissent. Oh, what, you mean they're not just putting out a list every day of everything they're doing? Like a transcript of every phone call? Geez, I wonder if Biden did anything secretive. Or Obama, or literally every single president. I mean... This is... Sorry, it's not MSNBC, it's MS Now. MS Now. They changed it because they suck too bad, so they had to change the name. Let's see. House Republicans eye official investigation into Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime. I think it's just one guy, and don't do that. That's just stupid. I mean, the show was terrible and idiotic, and Bad Bunny is just, there's a machine. Okay, I looked at Bad Bunny's last record and how many songwriters there are on each song. There's a couple of the songs have 16. I think the least songwriters on any of the songs is like 5 or 6. There's at least 4 or 5 producers on every single song. It is a machine. What you witnessed on the Super Bowl halftime show was a machine. Bad Bunny could just be anybody. They could just grab somebody off the street, plug him into the machine, and that's Bad Bunny now. And probably nobody would even know the difference, right? He doesn't do anything. He's a construct. He is a corporate creation, right? He's a product This isn't Prince, right? You couldn't just take the Prince machine and plug somebody else in and it could just roll along exactly the same and nobody would know the difference, right? No, this is just this is what music is now. They'll just grab somebody, not particularly talented. I didn't see a great deal of talent, no great voice. I mean, the music was at the level of listening to a train pass by. Right, just this tuneless slop, probably created by AI. Maybe the names of the songwriters are just the people who pressed enter, who made the prompt and press enter. I don't know, but it wouldn't be surprising. It's indistinguishable from AI, the music, just tuneless, empty slop. So that's what, even the politics, the political part of it, which was there, didn't anger me. It was what has been done to our culture, what's been done to our society, that now this is the most popular artist in the world. And really what it comes down to is there's this giant machine, the streamers, Spotify, whoever, they just decide who's going to be the next Bad Bunny. I mean, Bad Bunny will be it for a while, then they'll decide it's gotten stale, and then there'll be a new Bad Bunny, and then everybody will quickly forget about Bad Bunny. It'll be Bad Bunny 2. And people go, I didn't know there was a Bad Bunny one. 15 minutes later. That's what's been done to the culture. How much it's just the dumbing down of Western civilization to really, I can't imagine anything lower common denominator than that Super Bowl show. It was just depressing, right? I was sitting there, I was watching the Super Bowl with my friends, and I was sitting there and I just said to him, please just drop the bombs. Russia, drop the bombs. Drop the nukes right now. It's over. This thing is done. This is the Western civilization is done. Just drop the nukes. All right. Anyway, where were we? I think we were trying to see if they were reporting on that Trump story that makes Trump look good. And let's see. Looks like nothing. So they're not even covering it on MS Now. On CNN, they covered it, but then they had a misleading framing of the article. So there you go. All right, what's going on here? So yeah, we're doing all like US stuff first, and then we're going to go into the Canadian stuff. So what's happening here? Blue Lives Matter posted this. We're not saying we called this guy's truck and plates into an ICE activity hotline. What we are saying, so Blue Lives Matter says, we're not saying that we called this guy's truck and plates into an ICE activity hotline. What we are saying is that he ended up being targeted by anti-ICE protesters, despite the fact that he's one of them. He's saying, I'm on your effing side. Here's the problem. They're brainless drones. They don't care, right? These are just brainless Red Guard revolution drones. They don't care what's real. They don't believe in objective reality. It doesn't matter to them. They just want to attack somebody and stick dildos on their car, as they're doing there. I mean, you can't make it up. The level of idiocy. Does anybody really want to live in a country run by this level of idiocy? Like where this is the standard? This is the moral where this is the moral standard, just constant struggle session all the time for everybody. They don't care if you're right, if you're wrong, who you are, if you're one of them, if you're not one of them, it doesn't matter. You've been targeted. Now you're just gonna have to suffer. You're gonna have to suffer for the mob. I mean, it'd be embarrassing for them if they stopped, right? Or admitted that they were imbeciles. So let's take a look.
Do you see my fucking sign? Do you see
So he's one of them. Look what he's got on the back of his truck here. Nuremberg 2.0. Right? He's clearly one of them, right? They don't care. Zero interest. And when did the dildo thing start? I thought, so that started in the WNBA, and now it's here. So this is their new thing. Interesting.
Do you see my fucking sign? Do you see it?
I mean, look what they're putting. They're putting sex toys on his car. Look, by the looks of these women, okay, you're going to need those sex toys, all right? So you're just flushing money down the toilet there.
Why are you guys doing that?
They don't care. They're a rabid mob. This is what they've been trained to do. They don't care about reality. Okay. These are people who are protesting a president enforcing the same laws that, well, Biden did to a much smaller extent, but still the same laws. And he did enforce them to some extent. Obama enforced them a lot. He deported, 5 million people, 6 million people, Obama? Somewhere around there. These people aren't rational. They're idiots. These are useful idiots. These are drones. Okay, these are pod people. They don't have minds anymore. These are people that have been totally parasitized by an idea pathogen, by the woke mind virus. Whatever their goals in life, whatever their talents, whatever their potential, that is all gone now. They exist to push and spread the woke mind virus to other vulnerable minds like theirs. That's what they exist for, okay? No point trying to argue with them. They don't care. They don't have free will or agency anymore. I'm not being facetious. Nothing else explains this behavior. Anyway, I find it hilarious. I mean, it is. It's that easy. You just have to report them to themselves, and that's it. They have to be struggle sessioned, that you have to throw sex toys at them. You've got to throw dildos at them. And again, those poor women, they're going to need those, Look at the way they do. They're going to need those. All right. Brandon, wait, they throw dildos at you if you're on the list? Money-making opportunity. Well, you could collect them all and then sell them back to them on Marketplace. Blue Lives Matter says this Civil War thing is going to be lit. All we have to do is show up and call them the wrong pronouns. Look at these imbeciles. Oh, my God. Constitutionalist says the liberals live in an ideology where they believe they are doing good. They are consumed in their hate and disguise it as moral superiority, labeling anyone who disagrees as evil while congratulating themselves for their compassion. It's all just it's mindless, right? It is a literal mind virus. Let's say, oh, CC Gamer says, be a shame if a rumor started that ICE agents bought a bunch of specific bumper stickers commonly found on leftist cars to disguise their agents. All right. So there you go. Woke mind virus indeed. Indeed. All right, let's get back to the chat. What are you freaks talking about? Let's see. Let's see. I just want to very quickly remind the people on YouTube. Rumble people, don't worry about this. On YouTube, though, we have a second channel, Radio Baloney News. Please subscribe to that. That's where you get all the clips for the world news and UK news and US news and all things Trump and meme reviews and woke mind virus. All that stuff is going to be on Radio Baloney News. You have to go there to subscribe to get all of that stuff when it comes out. So just go ahead and do that stuff already. Okay, let's just go ahead and do that. All right, listen. Where are we? My brain is still trying to catch up to my mouth is still trying to catch up to my brain, unfortunately. More coffee. All right. Let's see. Spambot is desperately trying to communicate with us in the chat, but he's doing it on his phone, and he's saying, big hammed smile screeb. I think that's Jeffrey Epstein code. I think. What has he done? Let's see. Trudeau survivor. So I needed 8 fastener nuts for a project. He's saying big hand, small screen. Okay, that was a joke. Trudeau survivor says, so I needed 8 fastener nuts for a project. Why do we need to know this? Buy a 20-pack. Okay, well, we'll get back to that, Trudeau survivor. Let's see. Sometimes the chats aren't for me to read. They're just most of the time my chat isn't even listening to me. They're just talking about themselves. They're talking about like flashlights, not fleshlights, but flashlights and like food and stuff. I don't know. Just a place to hang out, I guess. Trudeau survivor says, why couldn't they book Billie Eilish to make everyone feel guilty for having money to enjoy themselves? I don't know. That was a big mistake. Next year, Billie Eilish. Brian Watson, how you doing? Good eve. The left is insane. Well, he's right about that. Let's see. Anything on C9? Yeah, we got C8, C9, C15. This is what Carney's really spending his time on, is this dystopian legislation. Trudeau survivor says there's a vid of some college guys playing pool as a BLM protest passes by. The guys cheer, and a BLM protester throws a rock at them and shatters the window. The guy starts shouting, we're on your side. I saw that video. I thought it was just a guy up in a window, like a second floor window or something. I didn't know if they were playing pool. But I did see that they smashed the window and we're on your side. You're not on their side. Really? Are you on the revolutionary communist side? Are you sure? Are you on the race Marxist side, the people who hate you? Are you sure? Let's see. Trudeau survivor says, contrary to rumors, I don't live at the bottom of a lake. Well, thank goodness. It's algae. That's not good for you. All right. So now what do we do? So we did the ice stuff. What's going on here? So what do we have here? So we have a mob of angry, self-righteous, liberal women harassing workers at a yoga studio because of ICE, because they're not sufficiently revolutionary. They're not sufficiently insurrectionist for them. Let's see. This was posted by Colin Rugg. Mob of angry, extremely emotional white liberal women berate core power yoga staffers for being complicit in ICE raids. Yes, this is the heart of hardcore support for ICE yoga studios. Let's find out what happened.
Let's go. Give us answers. Let's go. Say them out loud for the camera for all my viewers. Let's hear it. Why are you being silent? Let's hear it, Delaney, loud and proud, baby. You want to say it?
Now, if you're asking yourself, I wonder if this harpy would be doing this if she couldn't film it and then post it on her social media. The answer is no. Right? No, I don't believe she has pure impulses in this. Right? I don't believe she's righteous. I think she's a narcissist looking for attention.
Let's fucking say it. Why?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. It's an and a weld. You should have well-rehearsed corporate action and words ready to go. Our community. I spent.
Look at their faces. They're just like, are you fucking nuts? Look at their faces. They're like, look, we're just working, okay? This is yoga. It has nothing to do with your narcissistic, self-righteous self-aggrandizement, okay? We're just working at a yoga studio, you nut bar.
I sent out $10,000 for people for rent yesterday that people gave out to my Venmo that I'm going to pay taxes on. Delaney, let's hear a goddamn answer.
So it's just all about her. You see this? It's all about her, what she's doing. And she's got to pay taxes on blah, blah, blah. It's all about her. It's almost like it's not about ICE or, you know, we could go all the other things she's been very deeply concerned about, Ukraine or gender or whatever. It's almost like it's not about any of these things. It's just about them and their need to be seen and to make nuisances of themselves. I personally hope that more people do this, and I hope there's one of these harpies, that one of these woke harpies that just goes into literally every business in the Western world, because that's how you're going to cure the world of wokeness, exposing the world to it and the consequences of it, to these struggle sessions, right? Because people won't like it. These people, I got a feeling these people aren't probably hardcore Trump supporters working in a yoga studio. Maybe they are, probably not, right? Women are less likely to be hardcore Trump supporters, although many are. But you can see in their face there, it's like, I don't feel like this lunatic is winning any converts here. In fact, just look at everybody in here, right? They're all just like, we're just trying to live our lives. Okay, can you just fuck off, please?
The silence is deafening.
So I think I'm just taking a pause. Like,
No, don't take a pause. Come on, you came here to silence teachers to make sure everything was good. I've never seen your fucking face in 10 years of practicing and paying my money at the studio. Don't take a pause. Be loud with core power corporate dancers. Let's fucking go. What do you got to say?
Okay, I was just sharing that.
Louder, Delaney, for us in the back. Let's go. What is it? Why? Why are you having one of our best teachers quit? Because you can't stand behind her. Answer that. Person with the glasses, do you have a good answer? Delaney?
Okay, it's not a political organization, right? They do not have any obligation to support your political causes, right? I think they just want to focus on the whole yoga part of being a yoga studio. Please, please, woke harpies, if any are listening, go do this to all of the local businesses around you. Subject them to this, please.
Can't seem to cough it out.
Sorry, I mean, we're being berated right now, and so we're.
You're not being berated. You're being asked hard questions that you should have been answered. This is not berating.
Okay.
Trust me. Berating is what our neighbors are living through.
Yeah, I stand corrected. You are absolutely correct.
That's right. I know I am.
I apologize.
Okay. What's that? Why is your company?
The operations of the studio today, and to hear you and to listen, right?
I just want to see these two just fly over this counter and just take her down. That's what I would like to see. In their minds, are they thinking that? Are they imagining that? Are they playing a little movie in their head where they just go, crouching tiger, hidden dragon, and just leap over this counter and just take care of business? I hope so. I hope so. Let's see. They're being too silent about ICE at the yoga studio. We could get a yoga studio someplace else. Well, I don't know. I guess do that then. Go to the Chairman Mao's yoga studio then, I guess. Go to the Holodomor yoga studio. Go to the Pol Pot Killing Fields yoga studio. That's what this is here, right? That's what this is here. It's where it leads, these sorts of public displays. It's a struggle session. Try to put those poor women through a struggle session. This is where it leads. Okay? Is this really? I mean, when we take, what is this? Hold on. Here. I mean, this is a struggle session right here, right? Like, it's not far from this. Okay? And what? Like a couple of million people died in the Cultural Revolution? Like this? It's not that far. People should be careful what they wish for. Let's see. Here is that woke harpy who was harassing the yoga studio. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name's Heather. I'm the person who made the video and was...
Look at the smug satisfaction on her face here. She's really enjoying it. She's loving it. This is all happening because she has access to social media, right? And she should. Everybody should. I'm just saying that without social media, without being able to do this, she would not be involved in any of the stuff. I don't believe.
Doing a large amount of the talking here at Core Power Yoga Northeast on Sunday morning. So a lot of people have been asking me for the background and I don't have time to type it all out. So I thought I would just make a video and explain it to the best of my memory. One night last week, a couple of friends let me know that Core Power Yoga had been silencing some of the instructors who wanted to talk about ICE and the current violence that is happening here in Minneapolis against our community.
Yes. Yes, it's not a political rally. You lunatic. It's a yoga studio. Yes, of course they can't do that. Of course they can't. Good Lord. Look, these lunatics, okay, there is no corner of the world, there is no stone that they won't turn over. There's no grain of sand they won't turn over to find the oppression somewhere that must be there somewhere. The ism, the phobia somewhere. It has to be there. It's got to be around here somewhere. There is nothing. There's no place they won't look. There's nothing they won't just conjure out of their imaginations to find it, because they have to find it. This is what they feed on. This is what keeps them going. This is what keeps her getting eyes on the internet. These fanatics will invade every corner of your life, every atom of your being with their politics. They used to say the politics is political. That used to be a leftist saying. Well, they meant it. The personal is political is what they said, and they meant it. And they're talking about you, right? Not talking about themselves. They're talking about you. You have to be 1,000% with them, or else you're in for a struggle session, obviously, right? You just want to go and do yoga for an hour? Fuck you. No, this is about politics. You have to be constantly affirming your allegiance to whatever cause, all of the causes, all the time. This is actually dangerous, right? Like, this level of fanaticism gets, well, it got 100 million people killed in the 20th century. So, but no big deal, I guess. Just a crazy lady. When it's everywhere, it matters. It really does. Let's see. All right. Let's go back to the chat. What are you guys talking about? Let's see. Nevada, how you doing? All right. What are you guys talking about? Judo Survivor says making minimum wage to put up with Karens. Yeah, pretty much. You could just see the fatigue on their faces there. Just like, we're not interested in your politics, okay? Just go away. Nevada says, take off, commie. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, just tell her you're creating a toxic environment and making us feel unsafe. Won't work. That's what she says when it's convenient. Trudeau Survivor says, was the yoga instructor illegal? I don't believe she was. Let's see. JJ Nevada says, North Korea has yoga classes. Do they? I don't think they do. I think they have starving to death classes, or they have starving to death classes in their work camps. Rosie says, this is toxic masculinity. She has appropriated it. Oh, stop appropriating our toxic masculinity. Crazy lady. Let's see. Put that crazy bitch in a rubber room, Nevada says. Put that crazy bitch in a rubber room. Let's see. All right, let's get back to it. We did the woke mind virus stuff. Was there anything underneath here that we wanted to get to? Anything else? No, I already did all that. All right, so what's going on here? So, into wokeness. This guy here is very pleased that white people are moving out from his district. Really thrilled about it. Thrilled about it. It's almost as if he's some kind of racist, right? Charles Barron, New York State Representative. Huh.
I have the distinct honor to be able to come before you and say I actually lost white population in my community. I lost them. They left. I didn't ask them why. They left.
Have you asked yourself what they took with them, though? You might want to ask yourself that.
So if you see 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 whites in my neighborhood, they're passing through. So, but that's on a serious note. We got 13,000 black elected officials in this country. We've had mayors, we've had governors, we have city council members. We need to get radical.
Well, you know, the thing is that the better a place gets, the more white people leave, right? So he must have like the best district in the country, obviously. Is this leading the news on CNN, MS Now? Is the New York Times going to write a piece? Is the LA Times going to write a piece on this guy about how racist he is? Nope, because it's fine. This is totally acceptable. Anywhere in the Western world, this is perfectly acceptable. This would be perfectly acceptable in Canada, in the UK, anywhere, right? For the mainstream media, a lot of people wouldn't like it, but media would be fine with it. Yeah, they'd probably celebrate it. If this made it onto MS Now, they'd probably turn it into an hour-long celebration of, de-gentrification. Yeah, this is the National Summit on gentrification. This is the National Summit on gentrification, by the way. So, which is bad. So neighborhoods getting better, more affluent, bad. Don't forget, people's lives getting better, bad. That's bad. That's white supremacy. All right. Anyway, let's move on. So there's New York. Well, it's New York State. I don't know what part of New York that was. Guessing probably in New York City. I'm guessing somewhere. There you go. Total lunacy. Here is Michael Knowles. Here's from the Daily Wire. Michael Knowles confronts Professor Galloway on his push for people to unsubscribe from big tech platforms in protest against Trump's deportation policies. How does this even make sense? Here he is on Piers Morgan. Let's take a look.
And your example that you point to is when a woman drove her 4,000-pound SUV into an officer and he rightly shot her because of that. You're saying that this is justification to ignore the law, ignore the 2024 election, and destroy the U.S. economy. Real smart stuff.
So you believe, well, there's just not a lot of common ground here, sir. You believe that woman was properly shot?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think if you drive your car into a cop, he's justified in shooting
Let's agree to disagree. And if you want to support these firms,
this professor is just dumb. I mean, he can't believe it. In the United States now, it has become so fascist that you can't even drive your car into law enforcement to evade arrest anymore. I mean, can you believe it? It's gotten that bad. I mean, it's that fascist now. He says, well, I guess, what did he say there? Hold on.
I think if you drive your car into a cop, he's justified in shooting.
Let's agree to disagree. And if you want to
just agree to disagree. I have an insane perspective on this, right? He's saying, I have an insane perspective on this that I can't justify. So I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree because apparently I'm a lunatic. All right, let's continue.
Support these firms? You can. I've decided not to.
All right. I think you've made an unpatriotic decision, and I'm pretty certain you're going to fail, but it's certainly your right to try. And your example that you point to is when a woman...
Yeah. So I guess because of Musk, I guess he wants to get off of X, I guess, because of Musk. Because Musk isn't a communist, and he's for free speech. He's for allowing people who disagree with him to speak openly on their platform as long as they're not breaking the law. And that's, of course, good reason to unsubscribe from X because there's just too much free speech for you on there. Again, for him, right? You can just forget about everybody else. For him. So he's rejecting his own right to accurately describe the world as he sees fit. A platform where the owner of the platform is saying, if it's legal, you can say it. And he's rejecting that. Just think about that. Think about that mindset. I just don't feel that's how you save democracy, right? What are they saying underneath here? All right, let's just move on. It's a bunch of libtards. What do we got here? All right. So we've got this guy here. So this is kind of very similar to what we saw from this fellow here. And what did he say?
I have the distinct honor to be able to come before you and say I actually lost white population in my community. I lost them. They left. They left. I didn't ask them why. They left. So if you see 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 whites in my neighborhood, they're passing through.
All right. So he's thrilled that white people are leaving. National Summit on Gentrification, Charles Barron, New York State Representative. So he hates white people. Right, there you go. Let's see. What does this guy have to say? So this is Gene Wu, Representative Gene Wu in Texas, Democrat, of course, born in China in 1978. What does he have to say? Let's take a look.
I always tell people the day the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. Because we are the majority in this country now. We have the ability to take over this country and to do what is needed for everyone and to make things fair. But the problem is our communities are divided. They're completely divided. And I talk about this. I always tell.
So quite clearly, the oppressor here is white people. I mean, he's so oppressed that he's an elected official. Okay, let's see. I wonder if he could go to China and criticize the Chinese government and talk about them as the Chinese government, the Chinese Communist Party, as an oppressor. I bet you he'd actually get oppressed then, wouldn't he? If he's so determined, if he needs so badly this oppression status, he can go to China and criticize the Chinese government, and boy, oh boy, he'll get oppressed. Top speed, right? They'll just disappear him. They'll oppress him good. That's all he has to do. Why doesn't he do that? I wonder, huh? But in any case, clearly he's calling the white people, the people who built the country, right, that has given him the freedoms that he's so misusing right now. They're his oppressors. Very interesting. So, born in China in 1978, his parents fled the Cultural Revolution's nightmare. Now he tells generational Americans that the real enemy isn't communist mass murderers, it's white people. Yeah. The go-to scapegoat for every refugee who escaped actual tyranny, only to trash the nation that took them in. It's almost as if he's working in another country's interest, trying to sow division in the United States. Again, it's almost like, let's see, one of the United States' adversaries, like China, might really like that. Strange, isn't it? Huh. Let's see. Now, he tells us here that Gene Wu, Twitter trolls call me a communist often. They don't know my story. My family escaped communism in China. They taught me America is worth defending. Did they, though? Did they? Is this just something you're saying? Is it just something you're saying? Because this here is indistinguishable from race communism. So instead of class communism, race communism. Let's take a look.
I always tell people the day the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning.
I'm sorry, this guy's a communist and he's lying, right? In this clip here, where he talks about how he's not a communist, he is lying because that's just communist rhetoric. He's clearly lying, right? If you're saying this, you're saying what he's saying here, and all of the groups that are oppressed, talking about the oppression, the oppressed oppressor dynamic, right? This is just Marxist rhetoric. That's all that's happening here. And when he says that he's not a communist, I believe that he's lying, right? Again, it's almost like he's sowing division in the United States for the benefit of one of its adversaries. Let's see. What are those adversaries? Let's see. Is there one that starts with the letter A, one that starts with the letter B? Is there one that starts with the letter C? The place where he was born. I wonder. Let's see. All right. Let's move on. All right. We've done all of that. So we're getting on to the Canadian stuff. Oh, yeah. Here. Special congratulations to Spambot. He's an official canvasser for the petition to have a referendum relating to Alberta independence. Good for you, Spambot. He's working hard. All right. Let's go back to the chat for a second. Izzy's got, how you doing, Izzy? He's got like number 5. That is two good karmas. Let's see. All right. Hold on. I'm just looking at the chat here. This chat's not going to get gross, is it? I think it's going to get gross. What's going on here? How about an ad? What the hell? Let's do it. All right, everybody. They can freeze your accounts, shut off your cards, lock you out of your own money overnight. Banks don't protect you. They control you, like communist governments. That's why real financial freedom starts with ownership. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a non-custodial wallet built for people who refuse to give up control. With Rumble Wallet, you don't just buy digital currency like Bitcoin and Tether. And commies hate it when you do that. You can own Tether Gold, real gold, precious, precious gold on the blockchain. Through Tether Gold, you get direct ownership of physical gold bars, precious, precious physical gold bars. Each one fully allocated, verifiable by serial number, purity, and weight. This isn't paper gold. This isn't an IOU. This is real gold, precious gold, without bank vaults, storage fees, or gatekeepers. You can buy, sell, or move it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when traditional gold markets are closed. That's not going to stop you. And if you want, Tether Gold can be redeemed for physical gold. Physical gold. That's power. And when you support creators on Rumble, you can tip them directly using Rumble Wallet, peer-to-peer and outside the banking system. No permissions, no middlemen, no communism when you're watching Radio Baloney. No cancel button. This wallet is yours forever. There we go. There we go. Everything's right now. Don't you worry. Let's see. Let's see. Steve, how you doing? He says, flip the script and put them in a class that had to listen to MAGA stuff. They'd lose their minds. You see, it's only for them, though. The power is only for them. You have to kneel. That's your job. Let's see. Nevada says, another retard. There's so many of them. Let's see. Dramus, how you doing? All right. Judo Survivor says, punctuality is rooted in white supremacy. Oh, that's true. We know that. Let's see. Cal says, I suspect they already used the dildos before flinging at the person they thought was an ICE agent, but was actually one of them. That's disgusting. All right. Oh God, no, I'm not even reading that. Come on, get your minds out of the gutter. Let's see. No, I'm not reading that. Absolutely not. Nope, not reading that. We're just going to move along. What do we got here? All right. So, Mark Carney legislatively seems to be really focused on, let's see, protecting himself from any kind of prosecution, any kind of charges of, what is it again? A conflict of interest. That's right, conflict of interest. And also censoring everybody. That seems to be his, at least in actual legislation, this seems to be his main, project. So shielding himself from Canadian law and regarding conflict of interest, and then also just censoring everybody. So first one, Bill C-15, this is the bill that Kearney will use to shield himself from conflict of interest charges. So, this is from Chris Workington. This liberal cronyism cannot stand, he says, hiding in their 634-page omnibus bill, C-15, the Liberals have inserted a get-out-of-jail-free card for their elitist liberal friends. Well, let's take a look at this. This is actually unbelievable. I mean, it's just, if you were shocked by the level of corruption in the Trudeau government with their weekly scandals, well, just listen to that. I mean, again, like, you'd think there'd be some attempt to kind of appear to be, I get just not utterly corrupt. No such luck. Let's take a look.
But while families are tightening their belts, this prime minister is preoccupied with his Brookfield bondholder and banker buddies. He's inserted into this omnibus behemoth the 634-page Bill C-15, a provision that hands...
this is the Budget Implementation Act, right? So it's been hidden away in this and passed in the Budget Implementation Act.
His cabinet ministers a golden key to unlock any federal law for his favorite companies or buddies. A law, with the exception of the criminal code. It doesn't exempt the criminal code because I guess, Madam Speaker, Liberals draw a line at giving a free pass for things like kidnapping, theft, or murder. But everything else is up for a get-out-of-jail-free card. Madam Speaker, exemptions from environmental protections, transportation safety rules, tax remittances, labor standards, you name it, all gone for anyone that they decide. And it's all justified with buzzwords like innovation and competitiveness. If they decide that someone or some company shouldn't have to abide by the law, they won't have to. And who decides if this bill is passed? The Prime Minister or one of his ministers, alone, in secret, based on their own fuzzy definition of what they call, quote unquote, the public interest. No parliamentary debate, no transparency, no oversight. Taxpayers will foot the bill for whatever mess they create or whatever goes wrong. And their well-connected friends or companies, they're off the hook. Tough luck for average Canadians. Think about it, Matt.
I mean, it's just shocking, isn't it? It's like this was built to shield Liberals from conflict of interest. I mean, it's absolutely shocking. Let's see. Canadian Refusenik. The Liberals quietly added this provision to Bill C-15. Cabinet ministers can exempt any individual or company from any federal law except for the criminal code. So they can't just, walk down the street and murder people in cold blood for 6 years. The Carney Liberals are openly corrupt, and most Canadians don't seem to notice. Of course they don't. It's either the Liberals, really, or the Conservatives, right? I mean, not many people are voting for the NDP anymore. The ruling party is going to either be the Liberals or the Conservatives, and the Conservatives, I mean, it's just so unfashionable, right? And like Rosemary Barton's teleprompter keeps saying how mean Pierre Poilievre is, and he's like a bad leader and stuff, and like Trump and everything, right? So, yeah, they don't care. Mark Carney, opinion. Mark Carney is quietly giving sweeping new powers to his ministers. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, if you thought the corruption under Trudeau was bad, just wait. Juno News published this. So, buried in Bill C-15 are sweeping new powers that centralize authority, weaken Parliament, and dodge democratic accountability. Let's take a look here.
In this Bill C-15, there is a provision that would grant ministers sweeping new powers to exempt any entity, corporation, or individual from almost any federal law, with the exception of the criminal code. Why did you feel that that was needed?
I don't know what law what law you're referring to.
So it's section 208 of Division 5, Part 5, where it is allowing any minister to exempt any entity from any provision of any law for which the minister is responsible for a period of up to 3 years, with the exception of the criminal code.
Yeah, that's the law that we both voted for. It's C5. It's the Building Canada Act.
So this was included in the Budget Implementation Act. This was not included when the budget was presented in November. It was not debated exclusively, separately. It is here. So why do you feel that you and the other ministers around you, as well as the Prime Minister, need the power to exempt anybody from any federal law?
Well, let's say that there's a Brookfield company that the Liberal government is funneling huge amounts of money to and subsidies for carbon capture, whatever. This would come in kind of handy, wouldn't it? Just to kind of smooth things through, make nice and easy. Just make sure that money keeps flowing. Nice and easy. Do you see the conflict of interest potential here? Apparently, the mainstream media doesn't see it. They're not very interested. Okay, so here's David Cochrane. Is he going to be trying to frame this in a way that would be positive for the Mark Carney Liberals on the CBC? Let's take a look.
So on the Budget Implementation Act, because this is going to be a big one, not that this one isn't serious, but this is unquestionably a confidence motion.
And he's speaking to Andrew Scheer from the Conservative Party here. Who's not going to agree with them, I think.
And needs to get passed before the end of March, I believe. Kate, who was just in the studio, had some reporting that there is a conversation happening between the Conservatives and the Liberals after the meeting with Mr. Poilievre and Mr. Carney to maybe strip out some components of the Budget Implementation Act, including the bit to give ministers the power to exempt certain companies from certain non-criminal pieces of legislation if it helps with economic competitiveness. This is an issue that you don't support as a party. Where are things on that? Are you willing to compromise on the Budget Implementation Act if the government, in fact, accedes to this request? Where are things?
Well, what I would say is that that particular clause that you're talking about, it's referred to as the Henry VIII clause for a reason. It gives the government massive amounts of power, and it's virtually unprecedented. And what the Liberals are trying to do is give ministers the ability to circumvent several laws that no one else gets that kind of power to do. So what we've said is if they accept our compromises, and if we say to them, look, let's build some scrutiny around that, some transparency. Let's make sure that Liberals don't get to do what they've always done. When Liberals believe that no one's looking, what do? They have the Green Slush Fund scandal where they line the pockets of wealthy, well-connected Liberal insiders. There are all kinds of examples of Liberals using tools to enrich their friends. We want to make sure that can't happen. So if they agree with us that they will modify or build better protections around that particular clause, then what we've said is that we would allow for a path for the budget bill to pass.
Okay, so through the House of Commons, not just through committee, but through the House of Commons entirely.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't want to prejudge outcomes of conversations.
No, but that's the offer.
But that is a sticking point. We believe that it's our job as the official opposition to hold up a light, to scrutinize, and to propose solutions. We believe that they have tried for a massive overreach here. I mean, think about ministers just having the ability to circumvent duly passed legislation, regulations, all kinds of power. I don't believe Canadians want that. When you allow for a government to create an economy where the only companies, businesses, workers who get to succeed are those people who have special access to ministers.
Right.
That creates terrible outcomes for everybody. We need to move quickly after 10 years of terrible liberal policies that drove up costs and chased away investment, but we can't do it in a way where governments get incredible power without scrutiny. Every time that's been tried in every country that's been tried, it leads to corruption and terrible economic outcomes.
It's so typical of the CBC. There's David Cochrane there. It's just, he's treating it as if it's just a disagreement between, the official opposition. They just disagree with this thing, what the liberals are doing. If Pierre Poilievre, if the conservatives were in power and tried to pass unprecedented legislation like this, the Henry VIII clause, do you think we'd see the same framing? I don't think so. I mean, it's just defund the CBC. The second that happens, I'll be thrilled. All right, so there you have Bill C-15 Canada, unprecedented powers, just king-like powers. Again, if you thought the corruption was going to end after Trudeau, think again. Trudeau was Carney's protege. Carney had been advising him since 2020. No, when I predicted that Carney would be turbo Trudeau on everything, especially corruption, and I'm obviously right. Obviously right. This is just unbelievable, and it's just designed. This part of the Budget Implementation Act is just designed to protect Mark Carney specifically from conflict of interest. What else is it for? It's lunacy. All right, let's move on. So what do we got here? The Liberals, Bill C-9, their hate bill. Mike's Money Talks CA says, Justice Minister Fraser demands unilateral power to issue secret remedial orders to ISPs to block entire websites or specific content. A sixth attempt by the Liberals to censor social media. Canadian Civil Liberties Association says Bill C-9 expands definitions of genocide advocacy and willful promotion of hatred so broadly and subjectively that legitimate political speech, criticism of foreign governments, or historical debate could easily be censored. Well, the NDP has been trying to get it to make it illegal to accurately describe reality in regards to the unmarked graves hoax, which at this point we have to assume that it is a hoax, that it's simply not real. That's where this is leading, right? What do you expect from a radical leftist government? Let's take a look here.
Before Christmas with their willingness to obstruct the Justice Committee, and it's immensely frustrating at this late stage in the process because we are trying to collaborate. We have seen requests from the Conservatives to shift the definition of hate, to change the requirements around the role of the consent of the Provincial Attorney General. We're willing to accommodate those requests. We've seen calls to make clear that you're not able to classify reading religious texts as hate. We're willing to accommodate that, and we would be willing to put text directly in the bill to indicate that the willful promotion of hatred is not including reading religious texts or ordinary practice.
But why is that in the bill, though? See, I don't believe him. This is the thing. I don't believe him. Why did he put it in the bill? Why is it written in the bill that people could be arrested for reading parts of the Bible out loud? Let's see. Mr. Sunshine Baby posted, this is back in October 2025. Let's take a look.
C9 makes reference specifically with hate symbols to public spaces. Just to confirm, does that include the internet?
Generally speaking, the law will apply equally online as it does in real communities.
So this bill will affect what people can say and write on the internet?
Just in the limited circumstances where there is the willful promotion of hatred against
It will apply
someone.
to the internet. The internet is within the jurisdiction of...
It would be possible that someone could commit a hate crime on the internet, certainly.
Oh, he's like, well, it would be possible. Yeah, let's see. The Liberals have spent a decade trying to censor the internet. Yeah, I think they mean the internet.
So building off of Mr. Baber's points about the lower threshold for the definition of speech, there is, under this law, assuming Bill C-9 passes, something that might not be legal to say today on the internet. Or it might be legal to say on the internet, could actually be illegal in the future under C-9, could it not?
No, that's entirely inaccurate. And I say that with no judgment to your perspective, but let me explain. The only circumstance where you could imagine some online comment attracting scrutiny under this law would attach to behavior that is criminal today, but would be punished less severely. The symbols piece that you example is attached only to the willful promotion of hate. This is not a blanket symbols ban. The willful promotion of hate is a crime today, but we want to recognize a distinct charge where that same behavior uses certain symbols of hate to bring a higher degree of culpability. So there is no new human behavior that would attract the scrutiny.
I understand, but I'm building off of the discussion earlier on the definition. Is your view that the change in wording, and there was a change in wording, you made a deliberate decision to change the definition that was spelled out in Keekstra and reaffirmed in Watcott. Is your view that your definition in C-9 will not capture anything beyond what is currently captured right now by the hate definition?
The definition was an attempt to codify, and the reason
this is
that
a
there
yes
was
or no question, Minister. Is there at all a lower threshold or a broader net on hate in Canada after C-9 if it passes?
My view on the definition question, because the offenses I would give a different answer to you for, but on the definition, my view is that it codifies the same behavior that is there today, and it was meant to provide clearer guidance to law enforcement in the criminal code to apply the existing standard that has been recognized by the Supreme Court.
So in other words, to make it easier to censor people, right? I mean, they're incapable of just telling the truth. Hold on a second. I just want to see if I can find something here. Hold on. Hold on. I just want to see if I have the actual definition of hate in the bill. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second. Just got to look something up very quickly. If I can't find it really quick, we'll leave it. Hold on. Here we go. All right, very quickly. Bill C-9, the Combating Hate Act. Combating hate. Of course, hate will be defined so that it can be used against anything they just don't like, or anything that Sean Fraser or Mark Carney or any leftist lunatic hates. Let's see. Defines hatred within the criminal code as an emotion involving detestation or vilification, specifically stating it is stronger than dislike, disdain, or dislike. So, in fact, here, the emotion that involves detestation or vilification and that is stronger than disdain or dislike. So what does that mean exactly? It seems it could mean almost anything, couldn't it? So you've just got these subjective terms, right? An emotion. For one thing, why are we in the business of making emotions illegal? Like you're going to throw people in prison for emotions? That seems incredibly dystopian. But detestation, well, what does that mean? This is very subjective. Vilification, well, what does that mean? That's subjective as well. But it's stronger than disdain or dislike. These are all just subjective terms that can be interpreted in a trillion ways by any activist judge, right? So this is to censor speech that liberals don't like. Clearly. I mean, this is what they've been doing for the last 10 years. Why do we think they've just suddenly changed? I don't think so. I mean, they're not. Why aren't they just focusing on the economy? That's what Mark Carney was elected on. That was his promise. He would He knows how to deal with men like Trump. He was going to get a great trade deal for Canada by July last year. We would judge him by the price of food, he told us. So why is this the obsession in Parliament? Why is this legislation a priority? You'd think this would be on the back burner, right? We already have lots of laws about hate, okay? Like, we don't need any more. So why this? Well, it's obviously to expand their powers. There's no other reason. What's he saying here? This is from September last year.
Because concerns we're hearing from some Muslim groups is that like a Palestinian flag could be flown outside during a protest, and a police officer might confuse that for Hamas's flag.
Yeah, look, thank you, and that is such an important clarification. So when we are dealing with a terror organization that has a specific symbol, we would be targeting that. But when I say
they might confuse a Palestinian flag for Hamas flag, do you think that the liberals care about Hamas flags? Clearly they don't.
Reasonably confused. What we're trying to target is someone who would tinker with an image slightly to make the argument that in fact it's not the symbol, when in fact the intent is to still promote hate through the use of the symbol that may not be observable easily in the circumstances. So this is not about to be clear, this is not about a Palestinian flag.
And how do you expect a police officer to be able to make that call in the heat of the moment?
So that's one of the reasons that we put this specific provision in. A police officer will presumably, in that moment, be able to see something that appears very much to be the terror symbol. If we want to make sure that it is, we're not asking the police officer to do an examination for counterfeit.
Yeah, this will be used arbitrarily against anything they consider to be not them. So do you remember when there was like that flag? It was like a Nazi flag with Trudeau's picture on it, right? If there's that's what it's for. That's what it's for, right? I'm sure they remember that. They didn't like that at all because it was too accurate. Let's see. Let's see. Combating Hate Act. No more AG oversight. This is GDFN shirts. No more Attorney General oversight. Removes the Attorney General's consent for hate speech prosecutions. So when they still have to get that, they can't just flood the zone. This is just totally unrestrained, right? This would make it totally unrestrained that just anybody, any small police department anywhere can just start throwing these things out there, just persecuting people. I'm sure the liberals love that idea. Translations, prosecutions can now move ahead without a political safeguard, symbol bans, criminal public displays of certain symbols. They name specifically in the bill the Nazi swastika, SS bolts, terror group emblems, but they don't mention anything. They don't mention anything about the Hamas flag in there, right? They don't mention anything about communist symbolism. None of that at all, strangely. Seem to remember, what was 120 million people died needlessly because of communism in the last century? I mean, you've got communism right now. If you want to see the perfect expression of communism right now, look at North Korea. Maybe that's something we should be concerned about as well. Let's see. Any crime becomes a hate crime if alleged to be motivated by hatred. Do you know what I hate? I hate hatred. I hate hate. Am I going to get arrested? Let's see. Punishments escalate up to life in prison. Yeah, it's all just lunacy. It never ends, never ends. You thought they were going to be focusing on the economy, huh? Let's see. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on to Bill C-8. It just keeps coming, folks. This is what Carney's focused on. You thought he was going to be negotiating trade deals. No. This is what he's really working on. Mario Zelaya posted this. Mark Miller just declared war on influencers. This is communist talk. As the Canadian Constitution Foundation warned us, Bill C-8 would allow ministers to secretly cut off phone internet service. Any individual who does not comply, including by failing to keep the order, order secret, any individual who does not comply, including by failing to keep the order secret, could face fines of up to $25,000 for the first contravention and $50,000 for subsequent contraventions. Feds blame political actors. Heritage Minister Mark Miller, in a letter to MPs, says political organizers are using the internet to undermine Canadians' trust in public institutions. So they're criticizing public institutions in a democracy. You can't have that. I mean, the only way to save democracy is by killing democracy. Don't you know that? He did not identify any by name. The needs of protecting public interest journalism are urgent. This is from Blacklock's reporter. All right. Let's see. What do we have here? So this is from October last year. When we read Bill C-8 and look at what it actually says, it's clear this bill risks digitally shutting out Canadians who dare to dissent while giving the minister sweeping power to decide who gets a voice. This is Leslyn Lewis, Canadian conservative. Let's take a look.
We must take the bill at face value. We must rely on what the text explicitly sets out in the law. Otherwise, the law intended to protect telecommunications infrastructure could easily be weaponized by any government against ordinary citizens. Citizens most at risk are people like me, those who publicly and loudly express dissent, challenge orthodoxy, or raise uncomfortable truths. These citizens most active in civil society are most at risk of being cut off, penalized, and isolated without ever knowing why. For these reasons, Bill C-8 undermines the principles of fundamental justice in the Charter as it stands. Security in this context can be a pretext for control, while transparency and liberty are sacrificed.
It appears the Liberal strategy for the last 10 years, including now, is just to flood the zone with so much terrible dystopian legislation that people just don't believe it, right? They just don't believe, no, this is Canada. That stuff wouldn't happen here, right? Bill C-63, you couldn't get arrested for pre-crimes for something you haven't done, but some activist judge suspects you might do an online hate at some point. That couldn't happen in Canada. That's not real. You couldn't get lifetime in prison for an online hate crime, for doing an online hate. That couldn't happen. No, anonymous people couldn't just sue you. You know, they couldn't just report you to a government bureaucracy. They couldn't just, your neighbor couldn't just report you to the government and have the government persecute you through a human rights tribunal kangaroo court and force you to pay them money. In Canada, no, that's like the Soviet Union or something. I don't know. That couldn't happen. So people just don't believe, I think. They just can't believe that in Canada, things have changed so much so quickly. I'm telling you, they'd better wake up or they're going to find out soon, very soon, as we can see, as I'm showing you the legislation, right? I'm showing you Bill C-15 and Bill C-8 and C-9, and I've talked endlessly about, the failed Bill C-63, which is coming back again. You've got the Online News Act, the Online Streaming Act. People just don't want to believe it. They can't. They can't believe that Canada has changed so much so quickly. But again, you'd better wake up. Canada better wake up, because they're gonna believe it soon enough.
Face value.
They'll have no choice. Let's see. So let's hear this from Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. Let's take a look.
Canada will be a police state by Christmas if Parliament passes bills C2, C8, and C9 in their current form. C2 is the Strong Borders Act.
So we're past Christmas now. This was before Christmas, but the bills haven't passed yet, right?
It should be called the Strong Surveillance Act. It empowers Canada Post to open letter mail without a warrant. It criminalizes the use of cash in amounts greater than $10,000. And it empowers a vast army of government officials, not just police, to conduct warrantless searches of the computers and cell phones of Canadians. It is a massive invasion of privacy. It's extremely dangerous. There have been warnings that the Online Harms Act, which prior to the last election was known as Bill C-63, might be reintroduced. If the Online Harms Act is brought back and passed into law, you're going to see the Canadian Human Rights Commission with massive new powers to prosecute Canadians over offensive non-criminal speech with penalties up to $50,000. You're going to see a Digital Safety Commission with a vast army of bureaucrats to enforce federal regulations that are passed in respect of the internet and internet contents. And you're going to see Canadians punished preemptively because their neighbor fears that they might commit a hate speech crime in future. The Online Harms Act would authorize judges to place Canadians under house arrest and wear an ankle bracelet in respect to curfew, etc. Giving the federal government, giving federal cabinet ministers power to kick Canadians off the internet is not necessary for protecting public safety or defending our national security. Our freedoms are fragile. It's imperative that every Canadian contact their member of parliament, whether your MP is Liberal, Conservative, NDP, Bloc, or Green, does not matter. Contact your member of parliament and tell him or her to vote against bills C2, C8, C9, and tell them to not bring back the Online Harms Act. I'm John Carpe. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, so John Carpe from the Justice Center. Yeah, it's this creeping totalitarianism. Why would people not expect it? I mean, you've got Mark Carney cozying up with China, with communist China, a totalitarian state, a brutal state, a state with 1 million people in concentration camps, where you get thrown in prison, you get disappeared for dissent. Mark Carney forming strategic alliances with them. I mean, wake up, everybody, wake up. Let's see. All right, let's just move on from this. Although, hold on a second. Canadian Constitution Foundation. Hold on, let's go there for a second. Let's see. All right, let's take a look here. See if I can just find this quickly. Oh, wait a second. It's the wrong one, actually. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. Constitution Foundation. Bill C8. All right, hold on. Here we go. Hold on. There we go. So Bill C8 would allow minister to secretly cut off phone internet service, CCF warns. I mean, it's utterly dystopian. This was from October 2025. Bill C8 would allow ministers to secretly cut off phone internet service. The Canadian Constitution Foundation is concerned about the civil liberties implications of the Carney government's proposed cybersecurity bill, C8, which would allow the Minister of Industry to secretly order telecommunications service providers like TELUS, Bell, and Rogers to stop providing services to individual Canadians. The minister would be allowed to make such an order if she has reasonable grounds to believe it is necessary to do so to secure the Canadian telecommunication system against any threat, including that of interference, manipulation, disruption, or degradation. So fines, 25,000, 50,000. So this is just, there's somebody inconvenience on the internet, get rid of them now. The Canadian government wouldn't do that. Mark Carney wouldn't do that. Yes, he would. Yes, he would. And the CBC would back him up. That person would immediately be far right and scary, and it's good that they're gone. Immediately, all of the mainstream media would back him up on it. Of course. Of course they would. They're paid to do that. You not understand? There you go. Canada's getting to a very dangerous place. Ezra Levant. This is what being part of China's New World Order means. And Canada, hey, look, it appears that Carney loves China so much that he wants to turn Canada into China. This is what being part of China's New World Order means. Undermining America, buying 49,000 Chinese cars a year. Unnamed Twitter account says Canada is disappointed by human rights violations, nothing more. Well, here we go. Foreign Policy Canada. Foreign Policy Canada. Canada's foreign policy activities are led by Global Affairs Canada. So this is a government account here. Canada is disappointed with the sentencing of pro-democracy media figure Jimmy Lai today in Hong Kong. Mr. Lai is 78 years old and in poor health, and we call for his immediate humanitarian release. Canada will continue to support free and independent media worldwide. Now, everybody forget about it. China, don't worry, we don't mean it. This is it. This is it. So Jimmy Lai owned a newspaper in Hong Kong. Pro-democracy, I guess, just wouldn't toe the Communist Party line, and now he's going to die in prison because that's how they do it over there. I can't help but think that's how Mark Carney would like to do it here. Passing a lot of legislation here where people could be jailed for very, very vague things, right? For very vaguely defined things. So, yeah, and here we go. So they put this out. They put this little thing out here. So they can say they said something, I don't know. By the way, Mr. Lai has family in Canada, by the way. So maybe something more than this. Maybe a statement from the Prime Minister. I don't know. That's not going to happen, though, is it? He doesn't want to upset. He doesn't want to upset China, right? Our new ally, our new strategic partner. Good Lord, what's happening? All right. Well, let's just move on. Let's get to memes next, actually. But first, we're going to go to the chat. And first, though, I'm going to say to anybody watching on YouTube, subscribe to the second channel. It's been around about 5 months. Radio Baloney News. This is where all the clips for the world news and UK news and American news and meme reviews and woke mind virus stuff. It's all going on this channel here. Beautiful, beautiful Radio Baloney News. Subscribe to that today. All right. Let's see. All right, I'm going way back in the chat here. You guys been busy. Let's see. Izzy says, sounds like commie nonsense. And pretty much anything that comes out of the liberal government, you could just say that about. Hold on 1 second. Here we go.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Norm's right. Nevada says, I smell tyrants. Yes, you do, and I do too, and I'm closer to them. Rosie says, did I hear a coffee ad? I think I did. 9.9 out of 10. I believe, I'm not a biologist, but I believe that's the most you can get out of 10. It would be 11 out of 10, but you did not wait until I returned from my walk. Sorry, Rosie. Sorry, I didn't know. Let's see. Cal says, I work in a great restaurant in Calgary. Sometimes a homeless drug addict, let's do it in 1940s radio voice. I work in a great restaurant in Calgary. Sometimes a homeless drug addict, mental health disaster will bust in. They are firmly and safely removed and never come back. Would have worked with yoga. I agree. Is that what it's coming to, right? Like the yoga studios need bouncers to kick the fucking commies out? Is that what it's coming to? Apparently. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, can we register the Liberal Party logo as a hate symbol? No, you can't. That's the thing, you see. It's to be used arbitrarily against you, not against them. They're allowed to do hates. Let's see. Izzy says, these people are criminal slime balls, and I agree 100%. Nevada makes a great point here. Stinking commies. Damn straight. Nevada says everybody wants to rule the world. Fucking beautiful. Fucking beautiful. Why wasn't I a singer? Let's see. Tears for Fears stole that song from me, by the way. So that was my song. Not really, though. I just made that up. Let's see. Nevada says everybody wants to rule the world, and I think that you're right. Let's see. Rosie says definite commies. She's always right. Let's see. And Nevada says Trump is closing the new bridge. I don't think I have anything on that tonight. I think I just had too much stuff. It's that way that will be forgotten like in like 2 days, right? It's just all of a sudden he's decided now he wants to get the negotiations going, and now it's just the latest bit of leverage. Like none of this should be surprising. This isn't being erratic or even unpredictable. Like you expect him to do something quote unquote unpredictable. It's part of his negotiating strategy, right? Nobody should be surprised by any of this stuff, right? This is all just leverage. It's part of the long ongoing negotiations. Let's see. Izzy says, and are based on the perception of victim and not the intent of the offender, just like all gummy laws. Well, that's right. Well, that is the thing, right? So radical leftists, progressives are more concerned with the effect than the intent. So they don't really care what your intent was. If somebody's offended, if somebody's totally unreasonably offended, if some lunatic has completely misunderstood what you've said and is offended, well, that's all that matters. That's the crime right there. It's really good for getting people to be afraid of ever speaking. It just seems to be what they want. Let's see. Izzy says, but what if I see a symbol I hate? It's not for the laws aren't for you, right? It's obvious this will cover anything the government hates. Yes, exactly. Let's see. Western Standard breaking at least other. What the hell? The hell is that? Let's get to what the hell is that? So, hold on. What is this? All right, we've got something here. Hold on. We'll have to take a look. Hold on. Spambot sent something in. Okay. Let's see. What is this? It seems like something horrible. Welcome to Tumbler Ridge Secondary School updated. This is 11th of February, 2026. Well, isn't it the 10th today? What time is it now? 7:46? 2:29 a.m. 11th of February. So, okay. Well, where is it? Where is it? This is strange. 2026, February 11th, 2:29. Well, it's the 10th today. Am I losing my mind? There aren't, 6 time zones in North America, right? This is strange. Western Standard, though. I mean, Western Standard is a good, reliable news source. So let's take a look. Updated, at least 10 dead, dozens injured after female shooter opens fire in Tumbler Ridge. The suspect was found deceased after allegedly carrying out the attack. So there's nothing else there. So I don't know. There's nothing there. The link match. Okay, let's check this one out. Hold on. Let's go. What's this one? What is this? February 10th. Okay, let's take a look.
Privacy reasons and obviously for the. We're still trying to determine a lot about the shooter at this stage right now. We believe we've been able to identify the shooter, but for privacy reasons and obviously for the conduct of the investigation, we're not releasing that information at that time until we're assured that we've connected with the appropriate people.
Let's see. Where's Tumblr? All right, let's just check the mainstream media and just see if there's something. Let's see, Tumblr Ridge shooting. All right, let's see. Tumblr Ridge, British Columbia. So, yeah, there's lots here. Hold on. Let's go here. Live, 10 dead, including suspect in mass shooting in Tumblr Ridge, BC. 6 victims found dead inside local high school. RCMP says 10 people are dead after a mass shooting in the rural community of Tumblr Ridge, BC. 9 victims, 1 suspect. Okay, so this is horrible. Hold on. There's not much. So this is all pretty new, right? For the Globe. So this was 3 hours ago, updated 43 minutes ago. Okay. Oh, God damn it. All right. So no, I'm not doing that. RCMP provide update. CTV News. Jeez. Tumblr Ridge. So up near the Alberta border. Up past, so that's pretty remote. Okay, let's take a look at this.
As the investigation progressed, officers identified a secondary location believed to be connected to the incident. 2 additional victims were located deceased inside a residence. Police are conducting further searches of other homes and properties to determine whether anyone else may be injured or otherwise linked to today's events. Additional RCMP resources have been additional RCMP resources have been deployed to support both the response and the investigation, including frontline officers, the emergency response team, BC RCMP Major Crimes, and Victim Services. We would also like to extend our sincere thanks to our partners at BC Emergency Health Services and the Tumblr Ridge Fire Department, as well as the local medical center for their critical support throughout this incident. BC RCMP Major Crimes has assumed conduct of the investigation and is working to determine the full circumstances surrounding this incident. We are not in a place now to be able to understand why and what may have motivated this tragedy. This was a rapidly evolving and dynamic situation, and the swift cooperation from the school, first responders, and the community played a critical role in our response. Our thoughts are with the families, loved ones, and all those impacted by this tragic incident. This has been an incredibly difficult and emotional day for our community. We are grateful for the cooperation shown as officers continue their work to advance the investigation. I'd like to personally take a few minutes to recognize our community.
Yeah. Okay, so I doubt we're going to find out any real details tonight. This is horrific, though. And though there's going to be a lot that comes out in the immediate aftermath of this, some of it true, some of it not, and we'll sort through that on Friday. But horrible. All right, but we don't. There's nothing we can really say on this right now because, again, it takes at least a day or two for the kind of fog of it to clear, to nail down the foundational bedrock, what's true in this so far. So again, there'll be a lot of stuff that comes out. Some of it will be untrue. We just don't know what that is yet. All right, let's go to actually, before we do this, let's go back to the chat. Then we're going to do the meme review. Let's see. All right, hold on. Okay, we've gone through there. As he says, life in prison, that'll be for speaking truth. Commies hate that the most. Well, that's what China's doing, right? With Jimmy Lai, the owner of the newspaper in Hong Kong. Life, well, 20 years, but he's 78 years old. That's life in prison for speaking the truth. So, let's see. All right. Yeah, on the shooter, we don't know anything yet. So we just don't. So this happen every time these things happen. There's a bunch of stuff that comes out, and there's a bunch of stuff that's not true. And I've learned my lesson. And you got to wait for things to clarify. Right? Let's see. Rosie loves my terrible singing. All right. Izzy says female in quotes is suspicious, but I don't know that sort. I don't think well, was that Western Standard that had the quotes? Yeah, I don't know. Western Standard is pretty good, but was that first one? That was the Western Standard. So if it's from the Western Standard, I would tend to think that maybe there's something there, but we just don't know, right? We're gonna have to just wait. Izzy says in BC, so more gun laws, of course. All right, let's do the meme review, guys. Let's do that. Let's just go ahead and do the meme review. All right, one bad dude posted this. What's this? The episode where Scooby and the gang investigates the Clinton Foundation. Oh no! Oh no! Oh dear! I bet you they didn't even get to pull Hillary's mask off either. Darn it! Their car exploded before that. Darn. Let's see. What's this? Mind Essentials posted this. Back then, dads had 3 to 4 kids. Now kids have 3 to 4 dads. I don't know. Climate change is crazy. I don't know. I sometimes I think things used to be better, but I guess I'm just a bigot. Let's see. A man of memes. Republican Army posts this. The NFL just announced next year's halftime show will be Iranian Muslims marching and chanting death to America. Would that be surprising? I don't think that it would. They've probably already contacted these guys. They've contacted his agent already, right? So they'll have to set up the the auto tune and everything. It'll be great. It'll be great. Let's see. Trolling Canuck says my highlighter is running out of ink. Why that? All right, me highlighting all the conspiracy theories that have come true. Oh, it's like the whole book. Yikes. Well, that is a thing that seems to happen these days, right? All right, let's move on. Brownsville PD for the win. So what's this? From Hunter Eagleman. Police Department. Have an ex with a warrant? Send us their whereabouts. We'll send an officer to wish them a happy Valentine's Day with a complimentary ride to the county jail. That's just mean. That's just mean. Love is a lie. Love is a lie. Let's see. Trolling Canuck posted this. Democrats on a date. Well, I'm sure they love each other very much. Very much. Let's see. Cheers to my haters, Trump says. Be patient. So much more is coming. Love him or hate him, you're gonna miss him when he's gone. Just too entertaining. Too entertaining. Too memeable. The haters will hate him for not having anybody to hate as much as they hated him. So even they're gonna miss him, right? Let's see, what's this? Canadian media, Carney in the Epstein files. Well, he's mentioned in them 69 times. And then Donald Trump. Just a big pile of blow. Elmo is looking at that blow. He somehow got addicted to blow. It must be a Democrat city. Maybe he got some of that safe supply. Let's see. Carney in the Epstein files. It's just apples there, right? Boring. Pile of blow. Elmo like. Yeah. So there is no evidence that Donald Trump did anything in those Epstein files. And Mark Carney, too. There's no evidence that Mark Carney was involved in anything, right? He's a finance guy. It's not that surprising he'd be mentioned in those 3 million documents, right? But Donald Trump, though, well, that's different. And if it were Pierre Poilievre, again, big pile of blow. Canadian media would love it. It's like an addiction with them. Let's see. What's going on here? Never ask a woman her age. That's a good plan. A man his salary. Yeah, that's a little intrusive. A Labour MP. Why underage British white girls are sacrificed to secure the Muslim vote for the Labour Party. The sad thing is that that's actually what happens in the UK. That's actually what's happening in the UK. Look it up. What's this? From Prairie Putts. Roses are red, horses go clop for the best vasectomy. Good Lord. I'm not even sure I want to look at this. I'm not sure I want to scroll any further. I guess we have to do it. All right. To honor our ancestors. Dr. Dick Chop, urologist. Oh, dear. Dr. Dick Chop. He's smiling. He gets the joke. He's heard all the jokes. He's fine with it. He likes it, actually. He liked it so much that he became a urologist. Dr. Dick Chop. Very well indeed. I bet you he's a pretty happy guy. Let's see. What's this? Canadian bobsled team names their sled Carney. Nothing goes downhill faster. Perfect. Of course they're going to lose, though, because of the Carney curse. I mean, you had like the rugby team, and then you had the Blue Jays, and you had the Oilers. It's the Carney curse. I'm sorry. If you're an athlete, if you're a Canadian athlete, don't go anywhere near Carney. Just pray that he doesn't mention you, because you ain't going to win if he does. All right, well, I guess that's it. What's this? Did we do this one? So you want a divorce from Minnie because she's a bit silly. No, I said she's fucking goofy. Am I going to get sued by Disney now? I hope not. It's the kind of thing they do, though. Let's see. My wife hates being embarrassed, so we surprised her at the airport. Welcome home from prison, Mom. That's just mean. Somebody getting a divorce now? I don't know. All right. Let's see. I think we've seen all the rest of these. What's this one? Homeschooling science lesson went really well this week. Next week, marketing and distribution. So, hey, it's a living. We did that one. I know that. Oh, here we go. Meme of the day from Blotter Monkey. Antifa member catches fascist. Antifa member catches fascist. These people, I swear, they don't have mirrors, right? Let's say, let's fight fascism by acting exactly like fascists. Great plan. And also, for some reason, being confused about our gender. Like, pretty much all of them, but 90% of them. Let's see. I think we saw that one before. Well, what's this here? So William F. Buckley here. Liberals claim to want to give a hearing to other views, but then are shocked and offended to discover that there are other views. Some things never change. Let's see. I think we did that one. We did all of this. We did this. We did this. I think we've got all of them now. Okay. We do. All right. Great. We've finished it off. What do we got here? Don't want to do this one. So John Carter, you want to know the state of Canada now? All right, John Carter. A few years ago, my supervisor sat me down to explain that there was no point in looking for a position in Canada because the Trudeau government's new Canada Research Chair DEI policies had forced universities to declare a quiet, unofficial moratorium on hiring white males for the foreseeable future. Trudeau. Do you think that Carney's going to change any of this? Oh, no, he loves it. He loves it. Don't you remember him during the campaign saying that, well, there's this evil war on woke in the United States, all the evil Trumpers, right? No, in Canada, we love it. We love the woke. Yeah, Trudeau is, Mark Carney is every bit the radical progressive that Justin Trudeau is. These policies were a partial outgrowth. These policies were a partial outgrowth of a lawsuit launched by this asshole, Amir Attaran, who complained that he didn't get a CRC position because of racism. Racism against Persians being a huge problem, you understand? Just here to undermine Western civilization, apparently. Just stop by to destroy our civilization. The lawsuit was settled out of court, which you could read as the race-grifting professor shaking down his employer. Now he's trying to shake down the University of Alberta for scrapping its DEI policies. So, and Andrea De Cesaretti, Andrea De Cesaretti. In light of today's news story by CBC on the University of Alberta's steps to end EDI or DEI or DIE, that's my favorite, in hiring policy, Professor Amir Attaran of the University of Ottawa has sent an email to the president warning of legal action. Legal action. Canada must be destroyed. Merit must be destroyed. We must have race communism. Dear Bill, I am sorry to have to write this note as your one-time colleague in academic law, but having read a report by Emily Williams in CBC News that the University of Alberta deplorably intends to abandon equity, diversity, and inclusion in its hiring policy, I write to inform you about a legal risk. The university is a recipient of Canada Research Chairs under a legal settlement that the Canadian Human Rights Commission and I reached with the federal government in 2021, and which has since been made an order of the federal court. The university must employ EDI, I prefer DIE, criteria when hiring its chairs. Failure to do so will lead to the university losing its federal funding, deservedly. Do you know how much they actually get in the federal funding? $125,000. You know what? I think they can handle that. Stand firm against the lunatics, against the grifters, against the maniacs who would tear down our own civilization. Stand firm, I say. Let's see. Jonathan K. Amir Attaran, the prof cited here, is widely known as one of the biggest whack jobs in Canadian academia, including amongst his own University of Ottawa colleagues, whom he's claimed in his various paranoid human rights claims are all bigots. Of course, that's the only solution for somebody disagreeing with him. Now, let's see what his students think of him. Well, this will be interesting. Let's see. Overall quality based on 122 ratings. Amir Attaran. 2% say they would take his class again. 2%. 2%. Okay, so what does that equal out to? Under 3 of his 122 ratings. Wow. Let's see. Rating distribution. Awesome. 2, I guess there was a couple of just really commie, I don't know, enemies of Western civilization. And then awful, let's see, 120. And how many were there? There was 122, right? 122 ratings, and 120 of those rated him awful, the worst possible score. So, yeah, it almost feels like, now I'm not saying it, I'm not making a fact claim here. I'm just speculating. I'm wondering perhaps if this professor perhaps might have been a product of DIE himself. Really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Let's see, because his performance is appalling. Here was another one. Quality 1, difficulty 1. Showed up 40 minutes late to a one-on-one meeting, didn't apologize, proceeded to brag about his academic credentials, proposed a research study subject he was personally vested in, and agreed to pay for said RA. Then said no funding was available, did not engage further, unethical. So nobody likes him, and apparently he's terrible. He's performing about as bad as you can perform. So, yeah, these are the people who decide what Canada is now. So, thanks. Just stop by your country to ruin it. Thanks so much. All right. Very quickly here from JJ McCullough says, I feel like at this point, the federal Conservatives should consider expelling Premier Ford from the party, assuming he's even a member. Probably not. Or at the very least, pass some sort of resolution denouncing him. I agree. Doug Ford can't get enough of Mark Carney. He absolutely worked for him, praised him in the last election. And don't forget, Doug Ford's supposed to be a conservative. Well, a progressive conservative. Apparently, that just means liberal, right? But he loves Mark Carney, loves him. Loves him, talking about, geez, he's so smart. Oh, geez, that Mr. Carney's so smart. Nobody knows more about economics than that Mr. Carney. Geez, he's so smart. Gee whiz. Maybe one day, if I study really hard, I can be as smart as that Mr. Carney. It's absolutely pathetic. He's hurt Canada with this, right? Prime Minister Mark Carney and Ontario Premier Doug Ford have discussed the possibility of an early federal election in casual conversations about the importance of a majority mandate to deal with uncertain economic times, which has nothing to do with Mark Carney, by the way. It's all the evil orange man, don't forget. In fact, everything that's wrong with Canada, the massive debt, the doubling of the debt, that must be Trudeau too. The horrible, the fact that Mark Carney said we should judge him on the price of food. And, well, we are, but not in the way that he was hoping for. All Trump's fault. Everything that's gone wrong over the last 10 years, Canada's slow motion car wreck, which hasn't actually been that slow motion, especially the last few years. All orange man bad. More of that, says conservative Doug Ford. Let's see. The GDP per capita had diverged. It used to just follow along the states, basically just mirror the states. Now the states are still going up. Ours is going down, and that started years ago. That didn't just start with the tariff talk from Trump. That's years ago. Trump has had the least to do with Canada's state. The least to do. It's been liberal policies. Deal with uncertain economic times. This is according to 3 sources. The sources said the progressive conservative premier, who has forged a close relationship with the liberal leader, offered his opinion that the country needs economic stability. And the guy who's making it worse, even worse than Trudeau, that must be the guy. That's the only person we can trust. I mean, he can only fail for so long, right? Eventually, he's got to do something, right? Another of these sources said the premier recounted to them that Mr. Ford had advised Mr. Carney to trigger an election. Mr. Ford won a third majority government after he called an early election last year, saying he needed a mandate to take on U.S. President Donald Trump. He's mean. The mean orange man. So JJ McCullough says, pass some sort of resolution denouncing him or expel him from the party. He should just be banned. I mean, he's a snake. Ford is a snake. Here's what I think Doug Ford's plan is. Right? Help Carney get elected again. Okay, that means it's the end of Pierre Poilievre. Pierre Poilievre is very popular with conservatives. We know this. At the convention, he had an 87.4% approval rating, right? He's a very popular conservative leader with conservatives. If he loses the next election, he'll be gone. Doug Ford knows this. So if he can help Carney win and wreck the country, of course, wreck the country even more, of course, right? But that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. So help Carney win. Pierre's gone. He figures he'll run for the National Conservative Party. And then the country will be so damaged and broken from how many liberal years by the point of the next election, right? That the conservative can easily walk in, right? A conservative with no principles who will say literally anything will just be able to walk in and win. I think that's the long play from Doug Ford. And I can tell you, I myself, and I think there's a lot of conservatives in this camp, will never vote for Doug Ford. Never. You could not pay me to vote for Doug Ford. I would rather vote for Stalin than Doug Ford at this point. All right. So there's that. Before we get to this, let's go to the chat again. And let me remind anybody on YouTube, there's a second channel on YouTube now, Radio Baloney News. You got to go there for the world news, for the US news, for the UK news, for the Australia news, for the censorship news, for the woke mind virus news, for the meme review news. It's all right here on Radio Baloney News. It's all here for you. And don't let the algorithm win. Don't let the gatekeepers win. They hate us. They hate me. They hate you. They fear us. They fear us combining our powers and becoming more powerful than they could ever imagine. Because that'll totally happen. Just subscribe. You'll find out. It's not going to change our life really at all. It just we'll know. We'll know. All right. I thought that rant was just the probably the best part of the whole show so far, actually. Izzy says that Elmo is his spirit animal. Is it the cocaine addicted Elmo? All right, hold on. Hold on, I'm going to skip down a little bit. It's too much chat. I can't get to it all. Let's see. Izzy says, free Alberta. Well, we're going to find out. Izzy says, let us out of this insane country. It really is. It's not. Canada is different now. Like, it's different institutionally. It's different ideologically. It has turned hard left, like really hard left. It is not the same country, okay? When in the space of 10 years, you go from a country where young people can, it may be difficult, but they can start their lives together. A couple can start their lives together, have a family. It's not going to be super easy, but it's doable. You don't need to have wealthy parents to do it. You can do it. To go from 10 years from that to it's just over. No, forget it. No, that's gone. You know what? Your birthright has been sold, right? It's been sold to pay for liberal boomers so that they can have, 10% more home equity. It's gone. Sorry. Oops. These are two different countries, right? Am I wrong about this? Two different countries. The dream is dead for young Canadians, and we need to bring it back. We need to return that to them, right? This is the decent thing to do, just on a moral level. Like, come on. I mean, liberal boomers are the most selfish generation. I mean, it is shameful. There's a lot of great boomers in Canada, okay? And they're not all wealthy either. They don't all have massive home equity. And there's a lot of great boomers in Canada, okay? But those liberal boomers who just keep voting selfishly for themselves, just kicking their children, their grandchildren off a cliff for what? For a little bit more comfort for themselves? So I mean, it is disgraceful. Just shameful. I don't know how they sleep at night. I mean, just awful. Brian Watson says 10 killed in mass shooting. I know we looked at that a little bit earlier. We looked at the police update. That's something we'll look back at. Like everything that we're not going to really find out anything tonight. I doubt very much. And there's going to be a bunch of fake stuff on the internet. So we're going to get back to it on Friday when things clear up a little bit and we can determine what's real, what's not. Izzy says, I'd vote for PP, not a chance I vote for Ford. Yeah, I would never vote for, I'd rather vote literally for Carney than Ford, just to spite Ford. I would vote for the NDP. If the NDP leader, if their new leader was a tree with a face painted on it or a photograph of a cloud that looks vaguely like Greta Thunberg, I would vote for either of those over Doug Ford. I will never vote for Doug Ford, right? And I think there's a lot of conservatives who wouldn't vote for him either. I mean, what's the point? You might as well just vote for Carney again or whoever. Might as well, totally an utter waste of time. At that point, I think you just have to say Canada's lost. Right? It ain't going to get better. All right. What do we got here? So anyway, I think JJ McCullough makes a good point there. Mia Hughes, Canada's supposed conversion therapy ban is a masterclass in activist clownery. The wording is so painfully stupid. Mia Hughes. Now, she wrote the WPATH files. It was that cache of thousands of internal documents from WPATH, the World Professional Association of Transgender Health. And these documents proved that the gender ideology, these standards of care are just pure pseudoscience. These people have no idea what they're doing. They're just making it up as they go along. It really exposed the appalling level of fraud involved in this. She says, I find it embarrassing to live in a nation that allowed such meaningless gibberish to be written into law. So she's talking about Bill C-4. This was passed under Justin Trudeau. It was called the conversion therapy bill, the anti-conversion therapy bill, banning conversion therapy. And of course, that's a euphemism for responsible healthcare. Bill C-4 would amend the criminal code to prohibit certain activities that relate to conversion therapy. Okay, now, yes, I'm sure there were a few cases, extreme cases of, somebody gay being put through an exorcism or something, okay? Sure, but that's not what this bill is about. Let's check this out. Conversion therapy is defined as a practice, treatment, or service designed to change a person's sexual orientation to heterosexual, change a person's gender identity to cisgender. Now, you could change a person's gender identity away from cisgender. That's fine. That's not conversion therapy, right? These laws are always arbitrarily applied, right? I mean, this law is written, right, to be arbitrary. All right, change a person's gender identity to cisgender because being cisgender is bad, but the opposite is good. So there you go. Change a person's gender expression so that it conforms to the sex assigned to the person at birth. So, of course, this is woke language, right? Change a person's gender expression so that it conforms to the sex assigned to the person at birth. The sex assigned to the person at birth. So what they actually are. So this only makes sense in a world where the word gender has been redefined into an infinite series of abstractions. The word gender used to just be synonymous with sex. They meant the same thing. I'm sure everybody remembers that, right? And then it's been rather trivially redefined. And by trivial, I don't mean the consequences are trivial. I mean, it's just stupid, right? it doesn't really mean, it just means it literally means an infinite series of abstractions totally unmoored from reality. Repress or reduce non-heterosexual attraction or sexual behavior. Repress a person's non-cisgender identity, or repress or reduce a person's gender expression that does not conform to the sex assigned to the birth. So it's to protect the thing that doesn't exist, right? The gender soul is really what it comes down to, right? This abstraction, which is now an article of faith for leftists everywhere. So what this, in fact, does is it prohibits a health professional, a counselor, a psychologist from administering responsible health care to a confused child. So you cannot say, so you must affirm immediately. If a 10-year-old comes into your office and says, I'm born in the wrong body, you must affirm, saying, for instance, asking, has there been any history of abuse? Because that's very common with gender dysphoria, abuse. Asking, perhaps there's some other reason for your discomfort. Perhaps we shouldn't rush into this. That under Canadian law is now conversion therapy. I'm not kidding. This is real. This is a real law passed. I think people in other countries have a hard time believing this stuff, but because it's so insane, right? But I'm showing you the law here. This is the law that was passed. It actually makes it illegal. It prohibits responsible medical care. So by law, you just have to rush a child or anybody into a series of medical experiments. If you don't, well, you lose your license. I mean, it's actually against the law in Canada to say, maybe we should wait. Maybe we should talk this out first. Maybe we should look at maybe some other causes of your discomfort. Not allowed to do that in Canada. Of course, this is insane. Of course, this is utter and total madness, right? Hard for people to believe. Hard for Canadians to believe that this has been happening under their noses because nobody's paying attention, right? Nobody's paying attention. How many people actually know about Bill C-4? How many people have ever read this part of the bill? What is it, a fraction of 1% of Canadians? It's depressing. So, yeah. So this is Canada. Now let's go back to Mia Hughes here.
I find it excruciatingly embarrassing to know that I live in a nation where supposedly the brightest minds, the leaders of this nation, saw fit to use the word cisgender in a law. You are forbidden, it's conversion therapy, to repress a person's non-cisgender gender identity. It says non-cisgender gender identity in one of our laws. Is that not just painfully embarrassing? What absolute garbage? Who is in charge here? So yeah, I would rewrite this conversion therapy ban and get rid of all that. Get rid of all the stupid, embarrassing, garbage, gibberish nonsense and have a law that actually describes something real. I find it excruciating.
I think the whole thing should just be banned. I mean, you don't need a conversion therapy ban. If there's abuse happening, that's already illegal. If it's like physical abuse, that's already illegal, right? Like you can't just subject people to exorcism, the equivalent of an exorcism against their will. Like this is already illegal. And I also would like to ask you, if somebody, say there's a gay man or a lesbian woman, right, who wants to talk to a counselor and explore the idea that, and personally, it seems to be something you're just born with. I don't think it would work. But what if they just wanted to talk to a counselor and just explore the idea that maybe they're not, maybe there's, I don't know. But why should an adult not be able to do that? Like, why should there be a law prohibiting that from happening? Why should that be illegal? This seems really dystopian to me, Right? Why should you prohibit people from voluntarily, like, just getting counseling? That strikes me as rather insane. Well, again, like an adults are banned from just talking about it with their own counselor, with their own psychiatrist. Isn't this insane? Like, why should you ban people? This seems like an incredible intrusion into freedom over somebody's own conscience. Like, the government having dominion over your own conscience. This country has become unbelievably dystopian. All right. Hold on. Peter Gajdix. Peter Gajdix. Peter Gajdix. Peter Gajdix. Peter Gajdix. Peter Gajdix. Who is he? Writer living in Vancouver, Canada, author of The Inheritance of Shame, a memoir. Okay, what does he say? He says, I'm embarrassed to say today that I was one of the main advocates originally in support of a conversion therapy ban in Canada because of my own 6 years in a form of gay conversion therapy in the 90s. I helped initiate the country's first municipal ban in Vancouver in 2018, and then I testified in support of C4. My focus was to end actual conversion therapy of gay people, and I sincerely did not understand how the language in C4 could basically create a new form of conversion therapy through gender-affirming care. Yeah, this is the actual real conversion therapy that is now enshrined in law, unbelievably. When I say that leftists always accuse you of doing what they're doing, this is what I'm talking about, and it's just the golden rule of leftism, apparently. Today, I would support striking down the national ban as it's currently worded, or at least rewriting it and removing anything related to gender. Yeah, you might as well just write soul instead of gender, right? Yeah, Canada is just Canada is a morass of just utter and total moral confusion at this point. So what's going on here? From Colin Wright. Now he's referring to the United States here. He says, are we seeing the beginning of a preference cascade? The same day today that the American Society of Plastic Surgeons came out against gender-affirming, the euphemism gender-affirming surgeries for minors, the American Medical Association, the AMA, now states that they agree with ASPS that surgical interventions in minors should be generally deferred to adulthood. So I guess they must have been talking to the UK and Sweden. It's possible that many medical bodies held private concerns about gender affirming, which again, it's the exact opposite of that, but all right. Interventions, but publicly signaled support to avoid paying the reputational tax that comes with being the first to move. It is really shocking just how cowardly medical professionals, medical associations have been. The AMA, Endocrine Society, it's just pathetic. By being the first to break ranks, the ASPS may have just absorbed the initial cost, lowering the risk for other medical bodies to join in. This might be the reason why the AMA was so quick to follow suit, and hopefully we see a rapid cascade as more organizations realize the consensus was an illusion maintained by fear and silence. It's too early to tell if the dam has truly broken. Well, one thing we know about the real activist left is they will never give up. They're not going to let reality get in the way, or decency or evidence get in the way. No, they already know what they think. The AMA said in a statement to National Review that because the, quote, the evidence for gender-affirming surgical intervention in minors is insufficient for us to make a definitive statement, The AMA agrees with ASPS that surgical interventions in minors should be generally deferred to adults. Well, where have you been all this time? What, was there better evidence before? Oh, there wasn't? Well, what the hell were you doing then? The AMA supports evidence-based treatment, including other types of gender-affirming care for minors, the organization added. Yeah, well, those are going to just wait. Just wait. All right, that's from a National Review article. I want to show you one other thing. Hold on. So I wonder, though, if this change of heart might have something to do with this. A jury has awarded Fox Varian a total of $2 million after it found her psychologist and surgeon liable for medical malpractice related to a mastectomy at age 16. I wonder if it's anything to do with this. Now, what have we been predicting on this channel for years now? This will end when it becomes unprofitable. There will be a tsunami of lawsuits, and it's going to cost an enormous amount of money to the people who have committed these crimes against children. That's the only thing that's going to stop it. Nobody's going to go to prison. There's too many people are complicit in this. Media, the medical associations, right? Academia. Like, nobody's going to go to prison for this. Politicians, obviously. No, there's too many people complicit, right? But there's going to be a lot of money lost. It's going to cost a lot of money. We've been predicting there's going to be lawsuits. They're going to build up. They're going to build up, and there's going to be a tsunami of lawsuits. It's going to cost a lot of money, and that's when it will change. That's when everybody will quietly back away from it. Just quietly back away, as if they never even knew about it in the first place. Nothing to do with them. Oh, that was happening? Oh, how terrible. Just atrocious. Yeah. That's what will stop it. It will go out with a whimper. They'll just quietly back away. Elon Musk says there will be thousands of court cases of children who are mutilated by evil doctors, modern-day Mengelas. The schools, psychologists, psychiatrists, and state officials who facilitated this will pay dearly too. Yes, this is what we have been predicting for years, and it's starting to happen. And good, thank God. All right. We're on the last tab. Let us go to the chat. Starting to slow down. What are you guys saying? Izzy says a vote for independence. I don't know like when the referendum comes, and I mean, I'm not going to predict success or failure. I don't know. But one thing I feel fairly certain of is that either way, the Laurentian elites will be shocked by how many people it is. Because I think they're living in a delusional fantasy world right now. Rosie says, go Alberta, literally, go. Oh, dear. Let's see. Izzy says, future historians are going to think this period of time as having gone nuts. Yes, they'll have a hard time believing it, actually. Again, it's like modern lobotomies, only even worse. Izzy says, the laws themselves clearly show the hysteria. Well, look, they create this fake moral panic that's dictated from on high. None of it is grassroots, right? C4 didn't spring from a grassroots campaign. It dictated from on high, from elite preferences, from Trudeau himself as he remade the country into his own degenerate image. And the funny thing is, then they accuse you of creating a moral panic. They create the moral panic, right? The media is completely complicit in it and helps it along. Academia, obviously, all the leftist politicians. And then when you say, hey, what you're doing is insane and deeply, deeply immoral, they say, oh, it's a moral panic. You're moral panic. every time. It's just like an iron rule. They accuse you of doing what they themselves are doing every single time. As he says, not like the libs would be against speech laws. Liberal voters in Canada want that boot. The boot that Orwell talked about in 1984. The future is a boot on a human face forever. They want it. They like the boot. Right? They don't want rights. They want privileges. They'd rather have privileges that other people don't have. Right? They'd rather get on their knees and beg for privileges from their authoritarian government than have rights that everybody has. They'd rather have privileges that are denied people who don't do what they're told. That's the sad truth in Canada. As he says, many will back away quickly from this. They're going to back away slowly and hope nobody notices, right? As he says, they have their brainwashed minions in the system. Will take generations to weed them out. 100%. Woke isn't going anywhere quickly, all right? They are, like when I say woke mind virus, when I say they've been infected by an idea pathogen, when I say that they've lost their free will, their agency, I'm not being facetious, okay? They have genuinely been captured by a malignant ideology. Okay, their purpose, whatever their purpose was before, that's over, right? Their purpose now is to propagate the mind virus, the idea pathogen, to other weak-minded people. And I'm not being facetious. I mean that. There's a reason why they seem insane and you can't talk to them, right? There's a reason why they become hysterical when faced with, when you accurately describe reality to them. There's a reason for that. It doesn't feel normal, does it? As he says, sue them all into the ground. Yes. Although probably Carney will pass a law in Canada where they can't be sued or something. I'm not being facetious there. It's exactly the sort of thing you would do. All right. Talk about crazy. By the way, Radio Baloney News, second channel on YouTube. Don't let the gatekeepers win. Subscribe. It's a second channel. You gotta subscribe. Olympics. I gotta love the Olympics, right? I love the Olympics. I really love the Olympics. All right. Man of memes. Wait for it. So what's going on here? This is stuff you guys sent in. So you can just shut up and watch it. You sent it in. I'm just playing what you sent in. What's going on here? Maddie Evans, whoever runs the White House TikTok account deserves a raise. I am dying. So why? What's this? Let's see. Let's get this to the start. Illegals coming over the border under Biden. 9 months of zero releases at the border under President Trump. Just the best. White House TikTok account. Telling you, you're going to miss it when it's gone. You're going to miss it when it's gone. Let's see. Man of memes, how to avoid harmfully stereotyping a Muslim immigrant who was assaulting you. So this is from the Babylon Bee. You don't want to do that. That'd be racist, right? Let's take a look.
There is a deadly plague sweeping over Great Britain. This cancerous plague threatens everything: our nation, our culture, our values, and everything we hold dear. If it is not stopped, we might lose our homeland forever. This terrible disease is bigotry. That is why, as proud citizens of Great Britain, we must all keep a stiff upper lip and do our part to avoid bigotry, racism, and Islamophobia. Here are just a few helpful tips to help you avoid the stain of bigotry whilst you're being raped, stabbed, or blown up by Pakistani migrants. When an Islamic migrant approaches you and begins repeatedly thrusting a knife into your torso or face area, remember this: white British citizens sometimes stab people too, and you should be ashamed of yourself for thinking people stabbing is a Muslim thing. While the attacker stabs you, close your eyes and try to picture him as a white male. This simple meditation will
I thought he was going to say, close your eyes and think of England. That would have been a good one.
help your bias melt away like clotted cream on a toasty, crumpetted tea time. Cheers, old boy. You've done it. If you are a woman, always remember to wear modest clothing. Ideally, clothing should cover your legs, your ankle, your face, your eyes, and everything else. Take a look at Elizabeth here. Now that's an attractive and safe look for England's streets. Failing to wear the proper attire could lead to men of undetermined religion and national origin succumbing to their baser instincts, making you a target. So, do the right thing for England and cover up. That a girl, Elizabeth. Avoid regressive and offensive British terms, such as cheerio, codswallop, or throw a wobbly. Instead, use more inclusive terms, such as Allahu Akbar, or Allahu or death to Israel. This makes...
Okay, this is getting brilliant.
British Muslims feel welcome. If you've done all these things and still have feelings of bigotry, simply submit to the Holy Quran and acknowledge Muhammad as the one true prophet of Allah. Then, follow all the tenets of Islam. Pray 5 times per day facing Mecca, and maybe even stab another British person while shouting Allahu Akbar. Congratulations! You have completely rid yourself of the stain of bigotry. And as the evil dictator Winston Churchill once said, keep calm and carry on.
They keep nailing it. I mean, it's actually good. It's actually funny. And of course, it's funny because it's true. Actually true. All right, let's see. Man of memes, wait for it, wait for it. So what's going on here?
There exists a creature in the wild that packs a bite so vicious and ugly that the bacteria in its mouth will actually cause its prey to die 5 hours later as it trails, waiting for that moment to consume the rest of its body. This creature that I'm referring to, of course, is the white American liberal woman that owns multiple cats on anti-anxiety medication, that has no children, and is single. This is simply just an animatronic dinosaur behind me.
Funny because it's true. Funny because it's true. That probably got like a copyright of like the first note of that music. That's what happens with YouTube. For some reason, it's not great. Let's see. Ron White just hit me with a line I wasn't expecting at all. This is from DS Swear 123. All right, well, let's take a look. Here's some stand-up comedy. Let's take a peek. And if you don't like it, don't blame me. Blame yourselves for sending it in. Not bad. Not bad, I will say. Let's see. What's this? Rothmus, don't worry, babe. I'll watch the kids. Moments later.
You see, President Bush was in a secret society at Yale called the Skull and Bones. His dad was too, and they all worship Satan.
President Bush worships Satan?
In my personal opinion, absolutely. You see, President Bush was in a secret society.
I'll watch the kids. Don't worry, I'll watch the kids. What's this? The whitest kids you know. Fuse. Let's see. This one I believe is this one for Rosie? You can't buy happiness, but you can buy chocolate. And that's kind of the same thing. Look at that. Just adorable. Just adorable. All right, let's move on. Let's see. Never assume. Defiant Outlaw. Let's see. Says Aegon Targaryen says, I hated when an MFer assumed shit. What? Faceless Man says, when they what? Assume shit without knowing the facts. Schools. Let's see. He must have gone to a Leering Center. Just Citer. Woke retard says voter ID laws are racist and asks for my ID. Well, let's take a look. I feel like these new ones he's putting out are scripted. They're like skits. So the last couple, I think you guys in the chat as well agreed. It felt scripted, but let's take a look at this one.
Good. How are you? Are you the shop owner?
Yes.
I have some terrible news. It looks like your certificate for the shop, it's actually expired.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it expired, and we're going to need $500 today to make sure that you can still have the shop going.
Who are you?
I'm Javante. I'm with the Illinois State Licensing Board.
Can I have your ID?
Excuse me, bigot? Did you just ask a black man for his ID?
You're not black.
I was assigned white skin pigmentation at birth by my parents' bigoted doctor, but I identify as African American. You can't ask me for my ID. That's racist.
No, I'm not racist.
Those are your signs out there, aren't they? It says ID is racist.
That's different.
How is it different?
It's different because.
Because how? Did you ask me for my ID so you know who I am?
Who are you? You need a license.
So you're asking me so you know who I am, right?
Yes.
Because an ID makes you feel more comfortable knowing I am who I say I am?
Yeah, because I have to know who are you.
Isn't that what they're doing at the voting booth?
Yes.
Exactly. So how are IDs racist at the voting booth? You don't have an answer, do you? You just put up those signs just to put them up. You did?
Yes.
Good luck with that, buddy.
That one, his counterpoint there felt more natural. The last couple he's done did not feel like was a real person. Let's see, what does it say? Voter ID are racist. Just say no to voter ID. I don't know. Voter idiocy. Is it real? What do you guys think? I don't know. I mean, I approve of the message of this, right? It's clearly like this whole opposition to voter ID. Nobody else in the Western world is at all confused about the need for voter ID. We're not confused about it in Canada, right? France is not confused about it. UK is not. Nobody else is confused about this. Nobody else thinks that it's racist. It's just a Democrat thing in the United States. It is beyond transparently obvious that it's designed for fraud. The purpose of it is for fraud, right? There is no other reason. There is zero justification for not having voter ID laws when you need ID to just exist, and everybody has it. They know that. It's for fraud. That's my contention. My contention is that it's for fraud. That's fine. And I think it's fairly obviously the case. Let's see. I forgot to. Is that all the stuff that I've got? This is pretty good. Aaron Wexler. All right. A liberal woman interrupted my set to call me racist. Well, let's take a look.
Who's booing?
Me.
Do you want to say something?
Yeah, like you are a racist.
I'm actually a professional racist. I could keep talking to you. I'm like curious if we want to explore that, but I feel like you're really going to like my joke about trans people next, so maybe we just go to that. I'm deciding if I use my 2 minutes to explore this woman in the corner. Ma'am, is there anything you'd like to say before I close for the night? What are your pronouns? But no, I actually want to understand, like, do you want to share anything about what upset you, about what I said?
You're offending me.
You being offended doesn't make you right. I want to make people laugh and make them happy, and you want everyone to use pronouns. Do you think it's untrue or just unfunny? Can you name one thing I said that was untrue? I'm going to have to go in a second, but maybe I'm not going to abort this. You like abortion, but I don't. I'm going to stay here with you. We're going to ride this out. Adoption is an option.
I don't think you can speak for Black people.
You're saying I can't speak for all Black people as you are currently speaking for all Black people? Do you know how to spell my first name? It's actually Arynne. And that is a Black girl spelling. So I could say whatever I want. I'm Aaron Wexler. I'd be happy to chat with you after. Thank you all so much.
I feel like it keeps feeling like we've turned in some ways we definitely have turned the corner on the woke. Like comedians can be funny again now. That's important. Let's see. I think that did we watch that last night? I think that we've done it pretty much everything you guys sent in now that I managed to get to. All right. So let's leave it there. Let's do a little bit of chat and then we'll start to look for a Rumble stream to raid. Let's see. What are you guys saying? Izzy says, no lies detected on the B. Bambot Father says, I sent it. Sent what? I don't know what Spam's talking about. Rosie says, love the bee. The bee has just completely replaced the onion. The onion used to be funny years ago. Now it's totally irrelevant at this point, isn't it? The onion? It's been fully replaced by the bee. Hold on. There we go. Get the Olympics back on. Rosie's very happy about the chocolate. Izzy says, seems less scripted, but comes off more as a dick than usual. True. Ray, how you doing? Good to see you. Says, good to laugh at the memes. Just saying hello for a unique account for you. Thank you very much, Ray. Usually lurking. Keep up the great streams. Well, I certainly will try. Thank you very much. Keep coming back. Izzy says, the woke is on the ropes, but don't count them out. Well, the thing is, they're still firmly entrenched in every institution, right? So where they've gone quiet, they're just waiting to reassert themselves. They still absolutely rule academia. They still rule, pretty much every professional association, has been cowed and intimidated into compliance. But we're starting to see a little bit. I mean, we saw with the AMA and the Association of American Plastic Surgeons, right? Regarding the gender stuff for minors, right? There's movement there, which that's a big deal. Okay. But still they're just, anywhere they've gone quiet, they're just waiting. And they're still diligently working behind the scenes to destroy Western civilization. And I'm not being facetious about that. That's what they're doing. There is a network of revolutionary communists that have been you don't get to pump out a new class of Red Guard from your schools, from your colleges, from your universities every year for decades, okay, and not have a bunch of determined revolutionary communists. Like you've got professors training them to be that. Critical pedagogy has taken over education. Okay. And critical pedagogy, its purpose is to train young people into being revolutionaries, Marxist revolutionaries. You don't get to do that year after year after year for decades and not end up with a bunch of crazy people taking over your institutions. They're there. They cannot be reasoned with. They will never stop. It's going to take a long time. They need to be removed root and branch from every institution, but it's going to take a long time, right? They are still very dangerous. They're still there. As he says, Yuri warned us, Yuri Bezmenov, 100%. Nobody listened, or not enough people listened. The thing is, the stuff they're willing to do is so insane, people just can't believe it. Like, even stuff like stuff in Canadian law. Like, when I tell people that I know, they don't believe it. Like Bill C4, they don't believe it because it's too crazy. When telling people about Bill C63, their eyes glaze over when you're telling them about the future crimes part. They don't believe it. You can even show them the bill where it's written into the bill, and they still don't believe it because it seems too crazy. Like, that couldn't happen in Canada, they say. Like, well, here's the bill. This is going through Parliament, right? Like, this is going through readings. Rosie says, what sport is this? It's like ice something. It's skating. It's skating, I think. Yeah, maybe speed skating? Speed skating, gotta be. It's breast skating, I think. Let's see. It's the Olympics. Let's see. Let's see. Rosie says, I do not remember it being offered at my school. Well, this is something that's happened since we've all been out of most of the people who watch this since they've been out of school, right? Izzy says, it's amazing how out of touch most voters are. Yeah. Yeah. No, people are living their lives and they don't realize that, they may not be interested in politics, but politics is very interested in them. All right. So I think that's it. So let's find a lovely stream to send everybody to. Now, before we do that, thanks, you guys. You guys were awesome in the chat tonight. Thank you very much. You guys are what makes this worthwhile for me. If you weren't here, I would be ranting to a cold and indifferent universe, and that would be extremely depressing. But because you're here, it's actually fun, even if I get cranky occasionally, because you guys know me. All right. Now let's go and find a lovely stream. Now, for the Rumble raids, it has to be 5 different channels in the same month. So we can't do one of the channels we've already done this month. We can do that next month, but not this month. So let's take a look. Who are we going to choose this time? Liberty Aid Trust Duck TV. I don't know. What's this? You guys got any ideas? DEFCON Zerk. I don't know what that is. The Night Owl 206. Kid Rock versus Bad Bunny. Grogu versus Crypto. Star Trek Starfleet Academy. I don't know what's going on there. Denny, how you doing? Sorry, Denny, we're just ending. We're 3 hours in. But we'll be back on Friday. Let's see. Any ideas, you guys? What do you guys want? You got some Alex Jones over here. Alex Jones I think he's hilarious. I love Alex Jones. I think he's great. To me, Alex Jones is entertainment, right? What do we got here? Let's see. How about Hard News Network? Didn't we used to have somebody who used to love the Hard News Network? Should we send some people over there? Looks like X has live chat now if you have X Premium. Okay. So let's see. Trump commences. There's Drew Hernandez. InfoWars. Always fun. I don't know. How about Hard News Network? Let's send it over there. Shall we? I think I have some. We used to have some people who used to like that channel anyway, right? So, somebody let me know. Are you ready for Hard News Network? Is that what you guys want? Or is there something else that's live right now that you guys would like to go to? Somebody let me know. Rosie says, see you all Friday. So I guess we're losing. Rosie doesn't care. Ba, 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 ba. All right. Well, let's go Hard News Network. Izzy says, sure, Hard News sounds good. Let's do that. Because I know that we do have some people who on this channel who do watch it. So let's send it over. Oh. Paste. Okay, and let's go. Confirm raid. Alrighty, preparing for liftoff. Ignition sequence. Raid starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And let's go. All right. Everybody, thank you so much. I will see everybody on Friday night, 7:30 Pacific time at 10:30 Eastern. Everybody have a great night. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.